Happy Easter, happy 420, happy all the things. We are here on a Sunday for some no offense, all offense to roast and recap and commentate. So smash that like, grab a delicious beverage. Hopefully you're wearing something very comfy, and let's get this party started.
If you like what you see, come and get it with me. I know you deserve all you want, 'cause your heart's made of gold. But don't wait till you're old. If you want it, I get you some.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, stand-up comedian and pop culture vulture. Joleen Lunzer here for another no offense, all offense, where we look at pop culture news, trending news topics, things happening in pop culture, our favorite reality shows, things we love to hate, things we hate to love. We roast it, we recap it, we react to it. Remember, I'm very opinionated, but that doesn't mean you have to have the same opinion. You're welcome to sound off in the live chat or the comment section, and we can calmly agree to disagree. Like Tamara Judge.
That's my opinion!
Just my opinion, you guys. Don't forget to hit that like. Let's set a like goal for 400. See if we can get it. Hello, everyone in the chat. So good to see you. Like Jamie B says, yeah. Thank you, Jamie B. Shout out to my mods. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. If you want to support the channel further, you're always welcome to send a super chat while we're live here. Or you can do what Lauren did and become a member. I think at the end of this, I'll gift some memberships as well out. So make sure you have it selected on your YouTube account that you can receive gifted memberships. And that is whether I gift them or someone else gifts them. We've had people gift memberships, but I think I'll gift some at the end. So more incentive to hang around to the end. And then YouTube randomly selects people. I don't know if you have to even be in the chat. Maybe you do. I don't know. Chickenhead, thank you for the first super chat of the live. Chickenhead says, happy Easter. No yeaster. Yeah, we don't want a yeaster for Easter. Okay. Happy to report no yeaster for Easter over here. Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You learned that from me. Of course, the yeaster for Easter. It's very important. Nobody wants a yeaster for Easter. Nobody wants a yeaster in general, but definitely not a yeaster for the Easter. So today I wanted to come back last night, you guys, and do a late night live. And then I got exhausted and I was hanging out with the doggos and I just couldn't do it. So I thought, okay, Sunday we'll do it. Also, did anyone watch the Kenya Moore video, her live? Because maybe we'll watch a little. Let me see how long that one is, because I want to roast the Trooper Proctor, because we have karenread, that trial, that retrial starting Tuesday with the opening statements. And, you know, we're going to be diving into the karenread retrial. So we made it halfway through the Trooper Michael Proctor cross-examination from the first trial. We made it halfway through that, roasting that dude up. All right. And so I want to get through that because, you know, we're gonna be hearing from that guy again. All right. Right. There was no more dopamine left. Today I was struggling to get the dopamine. I was like, come on, Joleen, get with it, girl. Okay. So you watched the Kenya, nothing exactly what you expect her to say. All right. Then I'm not even I'll watch it on my own time too, maybe at like 3 times speed. And if there are takeaways, we can talk about it on Monday. But let's dive into the Trooper, or former Trooper, always pooper, Michael Proctor cross-examination. Shout out to the trial channel. We are going to be watching their video. I'm going to drop a link for the trial channel because what they do is nothing short of amazing. They literally take these cases so that we can watch them, and they take out all the sidebars. So it is literally just stuff you want to see. And it makes it so watchable and so wonderful. So I just dropped the link for the trial channel, and they cover all kinds of trials. So, and put up these wonderfully edited, like I said, taking out all the stuff you don't need and all the sidebars so that you just get to the real meat, the real meat of the trial. So go give them a sub. They are so sweet. They hit me up on Twitter and were like, because I was worried. I was like, I don't want to steal their material. I want to give them shout outs and have everyone go over there and tell them you came from over here. And they actually hit me up on Twitter and said that some of you went over there and said you went over there because you were over here. So thank you for that. Supporting other YouTubers is always really, really important. So I appreciate you guys doing that. Again, there is a link. I will also drop a link for their channel in the description of this video. And they are going to keep posting videos, I believe, for this retrial as well. So Alexia, thank you for the super chat. Joleen, did you make the Don't Be a Dick song? I really want to use it as my ringtone. I didn't make it. Hype Man Husband Chell made it. I added the pictures. I made like he made the audio. He made the song. He wrote the lyrics. It's his voice. And then I added pictures to it. That was my contribution to the Don't Be a Dick song. So if you can find a way to use it as your ringtone, feel free. I feel like Hype Man Husband Chell should put it on like iTunes or something, so it's downloadable. But yeah, and he wrote that song a while ago, and he was playing, I call it Rocket Dog, but I think it's called Rocket League with one of his friends. And it was because of the comments that the people they would play, because they played on like a league, I guess. And so he actually has a channel that he doesn't put anything up on anymore, but that has the song, and he has some of the comments about being a dick. So all the praise and all that goes to Hype Man Husband Chell, because he created that song. And I had been for about a year or so, I was like, I need to add that in. I need to remember. And then I didn't see it. So then it didn't exist to me, because that's how ADHD works. It's like object permanence. It's there, but I forgot, because I don't ever see it. So then I saw it because I had screen recorded it, and there we go. Long story short. Silly Goose, thank you for the super chat. Love the roast so much. So we will get into this roast, but to start the roast, we might as well start it with the Don't Be a Dick song, since we are going to be watching Trooper Michael Proctor, who is a huge dick. Okay, or former trooper. I keep saying trooper, but he's a former trooper. Always pooper, Michael Proctor. This one's for you, dickhead.
Don't be a dick, you're being a real dick. Stop being a dick, you're being a dick. Don't be a dick, that's what you're being right now. You need to stop, check yourself, and calm the fuck down. Don't be a dick, you're being a real dick. Stop being a dick, you're being a dick. The things that you do, you're obviously very hurt, and that's why I think that you're a big fucking jerk. Don't be a dick, you're being a real dick. Stop being a dick, you're being a dick.
Being a dick, you're being. Yes, I judged it. Oh my God, not that nonsense. That's exactly what I did. I judged it. Don't be a dick, you're being. I wish. Do I have a lighter? Sometimes I do, to light candles here. But anyways, all right. So let's get into this. Trooper Michael Proctor, cross-examination. I just can't even wait to see him testify in this new Karen Read retrial that is starting. I mean, I should say opening statements are happening on Tuesday, which is crazy, you guys. So I'm going to be stopping it for commentary and roasting. I want you guys to sound off in the chat all your hopes, dreams, feelings, and opinions on this bellend, on this dude. I think we were like an hour into this, it looks like. Yeah, 56. So we're going to try to get through the rest of it. And let's get this party started. You guys give me a thumbs up in the chat as soon as you hear the audio on this.
Been a lie, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Your Honor, this is the point at which I intend to turn to tab 3, and I believe we need to approach.
Okay. Jurors, feel free to stand.
He just looks like an idiot. No other word for it. There's Alan Jackson. Get him, Alan.
Trooper Proctor, you've indicated that your sister is one of your best friends, maybe your best friend.
Yes.
Courtney Proctor, that's your name? Courtney
Correct.
Proctor. Elberg?
I'm sorry?
Her last name?
Elberg.
Elberg, with an L.
Goldberg.
And you're aware that she is also very, very good friends with Jillian Daniels, Julie Albert.
Correct.
Are you aware of any circumstance in which any of the Alberts have been over to your parents' house?
Yes.
Damn.
Have you ever been over at your parents' house when any of the Alberts have been at your parents' house?
Yes.
Those Alberts include Chris Albert, Julie Albert, Colin Albert, correct?
Correct.
Oh my God. Oh my God. All the Alberts.
As a matter of fact, you were on or around January 29th, 2022, you were close enough friends with Julie Albert that she had your personal cell phone in her cell phone, correct? And vice versa.
I wouldn't classify us as close friends at all.
So again, we have the lead investigator of the karenread, looking into the death of John O'Keefe, and he is just buddy with the Alberts, just happened to be in Albert's home, Brian Albert's home, where they found John O'Keefe's body in the front yard. And they never did the proper investigation going into the home. Just a mess of an investigation. And now it's like, and this Alberts, and you made out with that Alberts, and you had best friend bracelets with that Alberts, and you were blood sisters with that Alberts, and your sister's sister had her first scissoring experience with fat Alberts. Wow. You think you would have to recuse yourself from investigating this case if you're that close to the family and multiple family members related to them, the people at that home. But what do I know? They're putting evidence in solo cups. It just looks sus. It looks sus, ex-trooper.
Okay, let me get back to my question. Did you have her cell phone in your phone, and did she have yours?
I can't recall I believe I had her stored in my phone.
So tab 4. All right. If you would turn to tab 4.
And what was this marked for ID?
This was...
Or tell me the numbers at the bottom.
Oh, I've got the sheet right here. I've got a cheat sheet. Tab 4 is triple B,
Okay.
as in Bravo.
He's in Bravo.
And Your Honor, for the court, I'm looking at page 2625.
Yep.
You have that in front of you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Do you recognize the participants in this chat?
I do.
The number ending in 5374, you recognize it as being from Julie Albert?
Based off the content of the message, I recognize this text message from Julie.
And she texts, "This is the weekend I've been waiting for. Michael, please send ski videos if CP doesn't share with me," with a laughing face, correct?
Correct.
That text was sent on February 24th, 2022, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was less than a month after Mr. O'Keefe's death, isn't that right?
Correct.
And less than a month after you had been assigned to the investigation in which Julie Albert was a witness, correct?
Correct.
And her husband, Chris Albert, was a witness, correct?
Correct.
And her son, you knew, Colin, was involved as well, correct?
Colin.
Yes.
Who is CP in that text message?
It's a nickname I have for my sister.
Courtney Proctor, correct?
Correct.
Your Honor, if I may have just a moment.
Thank you, Mallory. Thank you.
Can we move to Trooper Proctor to tab 5, please? That's triple C as in Charlie.
Triple C.
Do you have that in front of you, sir?
Yes.
And this would be page 2664. If you return to that page, please. Trooper Proctor, on January 19th, 2022, 10 days before Mr. O'Keefe's death, you were texting with your sister about whether Julie Albert might be available to babysit for your own son, correct?
Yes.
So in fact, your relationship with the Alberts was close enough that you would consider leaving your own child in the hands of Julie Albert as a babysitter, as a caregiver for your toddler, correct?
I wouldn't say close enough. I've hired babysitters that I've vet out, but I don't know.
But Julie Albert was among them. Correct?
Yes, she was an option to watch my child.
And then you personally interviewed Julie Albert and Chris Albert in this case on February 10th, 2022.
Sergeant Mechanic and I did, yes.
And you didn't mention a thing about your relationship with Julie Albert, Chris Albert, or Colin Albert in any report that you ever drafted in this case, did you?
I did not.
Not one word, correct?
No, sir.
You interviewed Julie and Chris Albert at about 5:30 p.m. on the 10th of February, isn't that right?
Yes.
Did either of them, Julie or Chris Albert, mention that their son Colin Albert had been at 34 Fairview Road on the night in question, January 29th?
I'd have to reread the report to refresh my memory on their statements.
Oh, geez.
Well, let me ask it a different way, if I may have just a moment.
Yes.
You wrote a report on October 12th, 2022, correct?
For which,
Concerning your interview with,
Or
Why don't
What?
you show it to him?
I may have the
she's like, why don't you show it to him? He might know. He's like, for what? I wrote lots of reports for people that I'm allegedly friends or not friends with. I wrote lots of reports and investigated lots of people who are related to and or are the person who watches and babysits my baby. But it doesn't mean we're close.
wrong report. Do you recall, Trooper Proctor, ever mentioning that whether or not Julie and Chris mentioned to you that their son had been at 34 Fairview on January 29th? Do you recall that as you sit here?
to the best of my recollection, no.
It was a very short interview with Julie and Chris, was it not?
It was typical length for the information they had to offer.
So you started the interview about 5:30 p.m. It must have been relatively short because you received a phone call by 6:17 from Julie Albert herself, correct?
I don't have the call detail record in front of me, but okay, yes.
Let's look at tab 6, please. Oh, it may not be in your book.
It's not, sir.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you.
There's a highlighted portion, Trooper Proctor. Focus
I
your
like how he's trying to be so polite now, knowing that we know that he was out there being like, no nudes yet. She's a see you next Tuesday. Okay, she's got a leaky balloon knot. And he's like, thank you, sir. Nothing is ever going to be able to get us to forget who you truly are, Michael Gross ass Proctor.
your attention on that and let me know if that refreshes your reflection.
It does, sir. Thank you.
May I approach?
Yes.
You received after your interview, you received a phone call from Julie Albert about 6:17, about 45 minutes after you began the interview and then left, correct?
Yes.
6:21, you called her back and you spoke for 3 minutes and 58 seconds. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you discuss the interview?
I don't recall the content of that conversation.
And of course, you never memorialized that in any report, did you? The fact that you had a subsequent phone call with Julie Albert on your personal cell phone.
I did not.
Let's turn to tab 5 one more time. And if you could turn to page 2677. Trooper Proctor, after your interview with Julie Albert, your sister, Courtney, texted you, how did it go at Julie's? She was so nervous.
Oh my God.
You recall that?
Yes.
Jesus.
In fact, you responded to that with a ha, 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 ha. 4
What?
ha's, right? And then why? Question mark, correct?
Correct.
Then you responded, it was fine. Just a quick convo, correct?
Yes.
You were literally reporting back to your sister about the progress of your investigation in a homicide investigation, weren't you?
Ha,
Objection.
ha, ha, ha.
Sustained. You can ask it differently.
Were you?
This guy is the worst texting. Like he's the worst texter. Like everyone associated, all these cops and his friend group associated with this case are just the worst kind of fucking texter. Like people who text, they shouldn't even be allowed to text. She's got a leaky balloon knot. Yeah, I'm investigating. I questioned your friend in the murder. Ha ha ha. What is wrong with you? It's like the same people that just think like LOL, like my dad for a while thought LOL was like lots of love or whatever. And so he was putting LOL after everything, like very inappropriate things. The same way my dad still doesn't quite understand that if you write something in all caps, it seems like you're excited about it. So when you write, text or you put a status update on Facebook that someone has passed away in all caps, that seems like you're excited about it. This is the energy Trooper Proctor is giving me. But he just doesn't deserve freaking the ability to text. Ha, 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 ha. Oh, my goodness.
You're reporting your progress to your sister about your investigation?
Objection.
Sustained.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Okay. Oh, sidebar. And out. Thank you. Trial.
May I?
panel.
Yes, thank you. Were you reporting your progress of your investigation back to your sister, Courtney Proctor?
No, absolutely not.
What? No.
But you did say that the conversation, the formal interview went fine. It was just a quick convo, correct?
In response to my sister indicating Julie was nervous, that's why
Ha, ha, ha.
told her it was fine.
Trooper Proctor, Julie and Chris Albert were not actually treated like witnesses in a murder investigation. They were treated more like friends. Wouldn't you agree?
Objection.
Is that true?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely true.
We've
Absolutely
established
not.
that you're very close with your sister, Courtney, correct?
Correct.
You provided your sister with updates on important advancements during the course of your investigation into this case. Did you not periodically?
I made her aware of newsworthy stuff.
That started as early as January 29th, 2022. Isn't that right?
Don't have the exact date or content.
Well, the day of the incident. You began.
Can I just make, I know I'm stopping. I got to make my comment to my side comments. How do guys like this get laid? How between, just the ignorance of his speech, his attitude, everything, just like yuck. So it's like talking to a freaking slab of wood. I just don't get it. I know there's someone for everyone, but why?
Letting her know that you were involved, that you had been assigned, what the status was,
Yes.
the nature of the case. The fact
Correct.
that it was a homicide, correct?
Yes.
Matter of fact, you discussed who the players were, who the
Oh my God.
people were that were involved. Isn't that right?
I just mentioned Julie and Chris were out earlier in the evening.
So you mentioned the Alberts, correct?
So unprofessional. You're literally the lead investigator to a murder. And you're like, yeah, I just texted my friend, talking about leaky balloon knots, telling him, and then I interviewed this person, found some evidence here. Here's something no one should know. This guy can't shut up. He just has to tell everyone what he's doing. Like, hey, what's up, Courtney? It's me, Michael Proctor, your brother. Hopefully you're not shitting your pants. Ha, ha, ha. Anyways, just investigating this murder. LOL. Yeah, somebody's dead. LMAFO. Here's the list of witnesses, people I'm going to be investigating. We found a bloody glove. Okay, love ya. Bye. And he probably called her the R word or something.
Julie and Chris, yes.
You also mentioned the McCabe's too, didn't you? At some point.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
The lead.
At 2668, Your Honor, that's the page that I'm referring to.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
You wrote the word homicide. Is that right?
Yes.
You were describing to your sister the nature of the case that you are now assigned. Is that right?
Correct.
She wrote the Canton thing is a homicide. And you wrote, don't say a word to anyone. Correct?
Correct.
And then she wrote, of course not. Isn't that right?
Yes.
And then you wrote what?
In the very least, it's suspicious.
In the very least, it's suspicious. Correct?
Correct.
So at that time, at least at the time that you wrote that text on the 29th at 3:05 in the afternoon, you believed that the case was suspicious, right?
It was before we found significant pieces of evidence.
So you believed that it was suspicious that it may have
Hey, don't say nothing, but yeah, he's giving away all of this information. And how many times has he done this? How often? How many, investigations has he been a part of? And I know some of you were saying that maybe they're looking into, and now that, this has come out, investigations he might have led. And I'm just really curious how many people are either in jail or did not get a just investigation, because of this guy. Just don't tell nobody. Okay, that works. This town seems like it tells everything.
involve the Alberts, right?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, Irene, good point.
She then writes, this is your livelihood, didn't she?
She did.
Meaning this kind of case could make or it could break your career, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
She then wrote, I would never mess with that. Is that right?
What?
Yes.
Your sister, Trooper Proctor, was warning you that you shouldn't be investigating a case in which close friends or family members were involved.
They're going to go,
Objection.
objection. I knew it.
Did you take her text? This is your livelihood. I would never mess with that as a warning from her. that you shouldn't be investigating
That face says it all. Yes. Yes. He's like, you know, you can read through it and see. And you know that objection. Lolly's going to go objection. And then Auntie Bev is going to be like, ask it differently. Ask it differently. You're going to have to ask it differently. Ask it in another way that isn't the way that you were at. Ask it differently. Or sustained. Or sustained.
a case that involved close friends.
Objection.
I'll allow it.
I'll allow
Absolutely
it.
not. That was in response to don't say a word to anyone. And that was how I interpreted this is your livelihood. I would never mess with that.
A couple of minutes later, 3:07 on January 29th, you told your sister, quote, Julie and Chris were at the bar with the victim and girlfriend. You got to interview them. Isn't that right?
Yes.
So you were telling Courtney, your sister, updates on what your investigation advancements were, correct?
Just
You're
that
gonna
part.
interview, why you're going to interview him.
Yes.
She wrote, you got to be kidding me, correct?
Correct.
Did you take that as you got to be kidding me? The Alberts are involved?
No, absolutely not.
And then you wrote, it's not a big deal, correct?
Correct.
And then she wrote, I bet I know the person. Sounds like it is, meaning it is a big deal, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure what she meant with those messages there.
But she did write, I bet I know the person, didn't she?
She did write that, yes.
And you know she's very close with the Alberts, correct?
And she's close with Julie and Chris.
You then
Or
wrote,
Albert.
no, I meant, or you wrote not. I think you meant no. I meant that they were at the bar with him, correct?
Yes.
She writes, yeah, I got that part. And then she continues on, but I know a lot of their friends,
Right, Kylie?
correct?
Yes.
Did you see a problem in this exchange?
Nothing jumped out at me.
Your
What?
sister's literally explaining that your family friends are suspects or possible suspects in a murder investigation that you're in charge of. Correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
On January 30th, 2022 at 9:13 in the morning, your sister texted you again, quote, Jesus Christ. The party was at one of the Alberts, correct?
Yes.
And you two were discussing the fact that, to put it in her words, Jesus Christ, these are our friends, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
How did you take her Jesus Christ? The party was at one of the Alberts with 2 exclamation points. How did you take that?
I don't remember.
That's
Hurry up.
the way I'm interpreting my sister's text messages was that surprised and shocked that this is where Mr. O'Keefe was found on the front lawn of that residence.
Could it be Jesus Christ?
You shouldn't even be talking to her about it. What is wrong with this guy? Dad, we were surprised that it happened at a friend's house. Oh my
We
God.
know these people.
Right? She was asking the question.
Again, that's how I read that message.
You don't deny, Trooper Proctor, that you were routinely disclosing to your sister pretty intimate details about the investigation, correct?
I wouldn't say intimate. I'd say newsworthy stuff or just generic nothing.
Newsworthy, which, I mean, subjective, sir. He's probably the guy that friggin' texts his sister, I just got laid last night. I just banged the gal. You know, there's always those weird brother-sister relationships. I've known people like that, and they give intimate details, and you're like, what in the White Lotus is going on here? Why would you ever? If I can't even fathom talking to my brother about something like that, but he strikes me as the type of guy that'd be like, I got some last night, Courtney. Yeah, it was top-notch balloon knots. And you're like, what? That's your sister.
Then
Well,
too specific.
newsworthy, would you have gone to the news at this point in the investigation? Would you have gone to the news and said,
Christian Allen.
Julie and Chris were at the bar. I got to go interview them.
Objection.
I'll allow that. Is that what you do, Trooper?
No, I would not do that, sir.
So it's not newsworthy. These were details, internal details about the investigation, weren't they?
Yes.
And you were sharing them with your sister, Courtney Proctor, correct?
No.
Correct.
And Courtney Proctor's best friend is Jillian Daniels, and one of her closest friends is Julie Albert, right?
Correct.
Oh, God.
Then on February 1st, 2022, your sister texts you that she's actually meeting with Julie Albert, didn't she?
Yes.
And that was before you ever
Why is he reading these texts like it's the first time he's seen them? Or you blackout drunk while sending? He's like, God, this is interesting. Did I really write all that? Oh my God. Whoa, this is a real page turner. Like he's acting like he's never read these before. He must have been drunk because everybody in this damn town who is involved in this case seems to be drunk all the time.
interviewed Julie, correct?
Yes.
So it appears that Courtney was providing information to Julie of some sort before you were able to actually interview her. Is that right?
Objection.
Sustained.
She was, well, let me ask it this way. You don't deny that Courtney was meeting with Julie before you interviewed her, correct?
Correct.
And you don't deny that you had been providing information about the case with Courtney before you interviewed Julie, correct?
Provided information that Julie and Chris were at the waterfall and I needed to interview them. Yes, that's the information I shared.
And who knows what you shared verbally, not in text messages, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you, we have text messages, Trooper Proctor. Did you share other information on phone calls with Courtney?
No.
So the only information we're to believe, you talk to her 5 to 6 times a day.
Damn.
The only information that you claim you shared with Courtney about the details of the investigation.
That's too many times. Are there people in the chat that talk to their siblings 5 to 6 times a day? Maybe me and my brother aren't as close as we should be, because I can't imagine. First of all, I can't imagine talking to anyone on the phone 5 to 6 times a day. But I mean, maybe if you're a twin, or like, I don't have a sister. I mean, I love my brother, but damn, I'd be like, what are you calling me again? What is going on? Talk to your wife. What is happening? Like, and if I called him 5 to 6 times a day, he wouldn't even answer. This is weird.
Are contained in these texts which we have.
Objection.
I'll let you answer that. Can you answer that?
The information that I share with my sister contained within these texts, yes.
You never discussed this case verbally, over the phone or in person with Courtney.
On the phone, I'm sure there's been conversations that's things that have been newsworthy items that have gone
Oh my God.
to the news. There's definitely been conversations in that regard.
Then before you ever interviewed Julie, your sister informed you that Julie actually wanted to get you a gift for your participation on this case, correct?
Yes.
In tab 5, let's turn to page 2672.
I'm sorry. What did it? Someone who's gonna be interviewing is gonna give him a gift?
Definitely been conversations in that regard.
I had to rewind it. Sorry, guys.
Then before you ever interviewed Julie, your sister informed you that Julie actually wanted to get you a gift for your participation on this case, correct?
What? What? She's gonna give him a gift. Oh my. There's got to be issues there, right? Not receiving gifts from people that you're questioning in an investigation. Okay.
Correct?
Oh my God.
Yes.
In tab 5, let's turn to page 2672, Trooper Proctor. You see the text from you, what's up?
Yes.
What's up?
And what's Courtney Proctor's
Yeah.
response?
A girlfriend. Or no, he has a
Nothing. I
wife.
just saw Julie, and she said, when this is all over, she wants to get you a thank you gift. And I respond with, get Elizabeth one.
What? A thank you gift? Thanks for going after Karen Read and not us. You on a fruit basket? Like, what? A gift, right? A gift? Bribery? Heather says I talk to my sister for an hour or two once a week. Right? I mean, I love my brother. I love my sister-in-law, but I definitely talk to my niece. I talk to their children more. I bug them more, but my God. Stephanie says my brother texted me a question and I asked why. Oh, Stephanie, that's hashtag relatable. Oh my God. Chris says I would pick up my phone when my sister called because it was so rare. Yeah, seriously. Oh, Heather says I haven't talked to either of my brothers on the phone in years. Yeah, my brother isn't really a phone guy, period. He texts a lot of people. I feel like he has a lot of friends. He's very social. He's way more social than me. And, but yeah, he's not like calling me like, how you feeling? I'd be like, are you okay? Where's Billy? Where's my brother? But now he's getting gifts. This is weird.
Hang on just a second. Let's take them one at a time. You were asked about this on direct examination by Mr. Lally, right?
Correct.
And you looked at the jurors, paused, and said, I never asked for a gift. I never received a gift. Elizabeth never asked for a gift. She never received a gift. You remember that?
Correct.
You said you never asked for a gift, correct?
Correct.
What's your next text?
Get Elizabeth one.
Get Elizabeth one what?
Referring to a gift.
Right. So you did, in fact, ask for a gift, didn't you?
For my wife who had been home with my children for the last 10 nights.
Get Elizabeth one. That's still technically a gift going toward you and your family. This guy is dumb as a box of rocks. Like, what do you not, how do you even get a job like this when you're this stupid. I don't get it.
From
I don't
Julie
get
Albert.
it. I don't get
Yes.
it.
For your participation on this case?
I don't know if that's yes.
Well, Courtney Proctor answers that question by saying, because I guess her and Chris were friends and John, and she's so proud of you for leading.
You guys are killing me. Kylie says, I like crying laughing because my brother was in Korea for 3 weeks and I didn't even know. That's the level of family that I have and want. Like, my brother is going to Colorado for a week for his 10-year wedding anniversary, and his kids are coming here. So I'm not. Oh my gosh, this is so great. This is so great, you guys. Thank you for making me feel normal and seeing that I don't talk to my siblings 5 times a day. But if you do, props to you. But Proctor's just a weirdo.
This investigation.
I got blown
correct?
my nose now. I'm laughing too much.
Correct.
You're aware during the course of your investigation. Well, let me ask it this way. Let me ask a foundational question. Do you pull phone records as a matter of course in investigations of this nature?
Yes.
Did you pull phone records in this case variously?
The phone records of
Of anybody? Witnesses, suspects,
not witnesses, Mr.
individual people, whatever.
We didn't pull full phone records of witnesses.
Victim.
Victim and Miss Reed.
During the course of your investigation, did you become aware that there were 67 calls between Julie Albert and your sister, Courtney,
60?
in the months following
Damn.
John O'Keefe's death?
Objection.
I'm going to sustain that objection.
Did you become aware during the course of your investigation of the level of communication between Julie Albert, one of the witnesses on the case, and your sister?
Objection.
I'm sustaining that objection. You can come try and convince me otherwise if you want, Mr. Jackson.
I can ask it a different way, Your Honor. Thank you. Did you ever seek information about phone calls and communications that Julie Albert may or may not have been having with anybody else?
Sorry, Jackie.
Didn't download her phone, didn't seek her phone records.
No.
Did Courtney ever tell you that she had consistent communications with Julie Albert? Or did you know that otherwise?
Objection.
Everything's sustained.
During the months, let me ask it this way, during the months following John O'Keefe's death, you did continue to have consistent communications with Courtney, though, didn't you?
Yes, I speak to my sister every day.
Trooper Proctor, were you
Weird.
using Courtney, your sister, as an intermediary
Ooh.
between you
Oh,
and Julie Albert?
Absolutely not.
yeah, sounds like it.
You're
67
well aware from
calls.
the very beginning of your investigation that Colin Albert was, in fact, at 34
Hi,
Fairview
Colin.
on the night in question, right?
Yes.
Matter of fact, you testified at the grand jury, the state court grand jury, on this.
Okay, I got to rewind a minute. Hi, Paul. Everyone say hi to Paul in the chat. Okay. Oh, my God. Like, I'm going to be open. I'm going to be doing my Minnesota, Wisconsin. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my God. This, again, it doesn't matter how many times you've heard this cross-examination. Every time I'm like, of course you're using your sister as an intermediary. It looks like that. It sounds like that. Who calls someone 67? I don't even think I called my husband 67 times in a month. Well, he's here most, I don't know. 67?
Colin Albert was in Fu and Julie Albert.
Absolutely not.
You were well aware from the very beginning of your investigation that Colin Albert was, in fact, at 34 Fairview on the night in question, right?
Yes.
Matter of fact, you testified at the grand jury, the state court grand jury on this case, that you knew that Colin Albert was at the location, right?
Yes.
Did you make any concerted efforts to keep Colin Albert's name out of this investigation?
No.
Why is it, Trooper Proctor, that Colin Albert's name fails to appear in a single police report until July 18, 2023?
Colin Albert was not at the home. He left at approximately 12:10 a.m. before anyone from the waterfall had arrived back there.
Let's look at, obviously, part of the job of an investigator is to be as complete and thorough as possible, correct?
Yes.
You don't just take someone's word for something. You look for corroborating evidence, don't you?
Yes.
Matter of fact, you wouldn't take a witness's word for almost anything in a reasonable investigation, would you?
Objection.
Would you? No, you can have that.
If I find the witness to be credible and have no reason to lie, then yes, I would take their word.
Would you try to support a witness's statement or witnesses with an apostrophe, S apostrophe, their statements with corroborating evidence?
Yeah, potentially.
That corroborating evidence might be talking to other witnesses, right?
Yes.
It might be looking at cell phone data, correct?
Correct.
It might be looking at geolocation data, correct?
Yes.
You're trying to find out where someone is. You might pull information from their phone concerning geolocation data, right?
Yes.
You might pull cell tower information, right?
If there's a need for it.
There's myriad ways that you can find out whether someone's
Myriad.
telling the truth about where they were and when they were there, right?
Silly goose.
Let's take a look at your handwritten notes from your interview with Juliana Nagel on October 5th, 2022. This should be tab 7. Proctor.
You got to count it for them. You need the system.
What is it for identification?
My mistake. I thought it was in the tab. It's not. This is a 3-page document. I'll just refresh his recollection with this.
Okay, show
Brad.
Mr. Lally and then go ahead.
Of course. Let me ask a foundational question, Trooper Proctor. Do you remember exactly what's in your notes from a conversation that you had on October 5th, 2022?
I don't know.
Do you think it would refresh your recollection to take a look at your handwritten notes?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, there's scribbles.
Take a look at
Imagine
that.
how he
First,
writes.
Let me just ask you if that refreshes your recollection.
It does, sir.
Are those your notes, your handwritten notes from this, at least partially from this investigation?
Yes.
Does that reflect your handwritten notes based on a conversation that you had with Juliana Nagel on or about October 5th, 2022? Is this going to be an accurate representation or an accurate copy of your notes for your interview with Juliana Nagel?
Yes.
All right.
Niggle.
With course permission, I changed my mind. I would like to have this marked as next.
Introduced into evidence?
Correct.
Is there an objection?
Yes, sir.
So we talk about Juliana Nagel, okay? Friend of Brian Alberts Jr. Juliana Nagel was at the Albert residence for Brian Albert Jr.'s birthday party. Nagel called her brother to request a ride home. Oh, she was the ride home one. And then was like, never mind, I'm going to stay longer. So her poor brother drives in a snowstorm all the way over. And then she's like, just kidding. They don't need a ride. When she went outside to tell her brother that she'd find another ride home, she said she saw Karenread's car, but did not hear any screaming or see anyone exit the car. Nagel said she left with the McCabe's around 1:30 a.m.
And the objection sustained.
Is it true that in your handwritten notes, you list the following individuals based on Juliana Nagel's conversation with you as being at 34 Fairview? Brian, Juliana, Mary Kent, Emily Fabiano, Courtney Alba, Colin Albert, and Sarah Levinson. Correct?
Correct.
You then drafted a report memorializing your conversation with Juliana Nagel, correct?
Yes.
And that report is a formal memorialization of your interview based on your investigation, correct?
Yes, a summary of the conversation for the interview.
And that report is the thing that's turned over to the Commonwealth, correct?
Yes.
And the report is the thing that's entered into discovery and provided to the defense.
Correct.
And isn't it true that in that report, you list the individuals that were at 34 Fairview as Brian, Mary Kent, Emily Fabiano, Sarah Levinson? Is that correct?
Yes.
What's the one name that was left out of your report on that list?
Objection.
Uh-oh.
Allow it.
Allow it.
Was there one name left out?
So,
Break that down, Mr. Jackson.
Sure. Isn't it true that in your report, you excluded the one name, Colin Albert, from the list of individuals that were in your notes?
yes, because he arrived later in the evening. The other females were there from the start.
At the time that you wrote your report, the formal report, this one, you did not believe that your handwritten notes were also going to be disclosed, did you?
I knew that was a possibility.
When you finally did get around to interviewing Colin Albert, you personally conducted that interview, did you not?
Yes.
Colin
Along with
Albert
Trooper
told
Zach
you-
Clark.
One at a time.
I'm sorry.
Finish your answer, Trooper.
Please go ahead.
Yes, along with Trooper Zach Clark in my office.
Zach Clark.
Colin Albert told you that he was picked up by Allie McCabe from his uncle's house at 12:10 a.m., correct?
Correct.
Allie McCabe also told you that she picked up Colin Albert at 34 Fairview at 12:10 a.m. and then dropped him off at his house, correct?
Correct.
And then she indicated that she went straight home after that, right?
Yes.
Did you conduct any further investigation to determine whether Colin Albert and Allie McCabe were actually telling the truth about that time?
We did not.
Oh, my
You
God.
just took them at their word, correct?
Yes.
Trooper Proctor, you realize that you had a forensic image at the time. You had a forensic image of Jennifer McCabe's cell phone in your possession, right?
Eyewitness.
Correct.
You're also aware that she has a Life 360 app on her phone that tracks the location of Allie McCabe, correct?
I was not aware the app tracked her daughter. I knew of the Life 360 app, but I wasn't aware of the capability of tracking her daughter.
Did you bother to look at Jennifer McCabe's Life 360 app to determine whether Colin Albert and Allie McCabe were telling the truth about the time that they supposedly left 34
Get him,
Fairview?
Alan.
Objection.
Did you do that alone?
I did not.
Ugh.
We'll take a look at tab 8.
Interviewed.
Do you recall
Colin.
looking at all at a Life 360 app or its data from Sallyport report?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you or did you not look at any data from Live 360 from Jennifer McCabe's phone?
Objection.
All right, so this is a good time to take morning recess, and I'll see Constance.
And look at that. The trial channel just wipes it all away. Their recess, any getting up, we're right back into it. Shout out to the trial channel. Make sure you subscribe. So they're talking about Colin Albert. And Colin Albert is the nephew of Brian Albert, in case you didn't know, and the son of Chris and Julie Albert, who have been mentioned. He was 17 when John O'Keefe died. And Colin was at his uncle's home the night of the incident for a birthday party for his cousin, Brian Albert Jr. So seniors, junior, son. Colin and others present said that Colin left shortly after the group from the waterfall arrived. Accounts varied on the time of his departure and arrival home. But that is, Proctor saying 12:10 a.m., 12:10 a.m. Reed's defense alleged in the first trial that Colin was part of the attack on O'Keefe in the Albert home, based partly on selfie videos Colin made, threatening violence against a rival hockey team. Oh, Jesus. Colin denied that such an attack occurred and also denied any ill will between him and his neighbor. Auntie Bev here, Judge Beverly, forbade the defense from trying to implicate Colin in the retrial. So unfortunately, Auntie Bev has made the decision post this new retrial that they can't allude to, or they can't, implicate Colin. And a lot of people believe that Colin, he's just, it could have been him as much as it could have been Brian Alberts, as much as it could have been that weird Higgins guy. And that some people were saying that he had some beef with John O'Keefe, the guy who was murdered, and that he stated, Colin, that he's not a violent guy, but yet he was photographed at a nightclub with when they interviewed him in this trial. We're going to have to go over the Colin one because it's, unless something changes, they're not going to be able to implicate him, or I don't think he'll testify right in this retrial. He had his knuckles were all like bloody and messed up, and his rendition of how that happened, because people were thinking, could that be because he got in a fight with John O'Keefe? There's just so many different theories. Again, so much reasonable doubt as to when they are saying Karen Read definitely did this. It's like, well, okay. Where's the dog? Well, we'll get to that. But so he said, and this was one of the most ridiculous, laugh out loud reasoning. It was like icy out or something. He was walking, he slipped and caught himself and fell only on his knuckles. Because we all know, if you live in a wintry place and you slip on the snow or the ice, you always go knuckles down. I honestly don't think I've ever cut open my knuckles. I don't even think I've ever done. Because I don't fight people. And I've never fallen on the ice or in the snow, knuckles down, but I mean, maybe I'm just falling wrong. Clearly, according to this investigation, I'm not talking to my sibling enough and I'm not falling properly. Okay. We have to. Oh my gosh. Well, the good thing is, that we have time, to look back on these crazy, testimonies, like Higgins' testimony with the text messages between him and Karen Read. Oh my God, that guy. But we're going to see him testify again. And so there's just, and again, it's like, to find justice for John O'Keefe, there's just so many variables that this investigation failed. And it seems like on purpose to look at so many ways in which John O'Keefe could have died that weren't just Karen Read hitting him with a car, that they just refused, it seems like, to look into. But some of these testimonies are just, you would think, Chell was, when I was watching the Colin Albert, because I had never seen, you guys know I got into this case after it was, after the first trial. And Chell had been studying, and I had my, earbuds in, and I was just laughing. He's like, what? I'm like, this kid's testimony and how his rendition of how his knuckles were all bloody. And I just never heard anything like it before. And now, unfortunately, the judge forbade the defense from trying to implicate Colin. However, the other two men, I think they can still implicate. Reed's defense tried to use Facebook photos of Colin as a boy at a wedding as evidence of close ties between the Proctors and the Alberts. The photos in question allegedly showed Colin at the wedding of Proctor's sister, Courtney. So speaking of sister, this guy, Michael Proctor, his sister Courtney, who he talks to 5 to 6 times a day, there were pictures of Colin's aunt, Julie Albert's sister. Okay, no. Yeah, there was pictures of Colin as a boy. Like this relationship goes back far, at a wedding as evidence of close ties between the Proctors and the Alberts. The photos in question allegedly showed Colin at the wedding of Proctor's sister, Courtney Proctor. A Proctor family lawyer laid out the connection in the wedding photo. Colin's aunt, Julie, who you heard Alan Jackson, one of Karen Read's attorneys, him questioning Michael Proctor about the relationship between Courtney and Julie. So Colin's aunt, Julie Albert, this is just like, it's so much. A Proctor family lawyer laid out the connection in the wedding photo. Colin's aunt, Julie Albert's sister, was friendly with Proctor's sister, and Proctor's sister invited Julie and Colin to her wedding. Michael Proctor, the lead investigator. The jury in Reed's first trial never saw the photos. Prosecutors say Colin has become the target of online harassment and threats after a blogger accused him of being involved in O'Keefe's death. So it's crazy. It's a damn maze. Okay. So shout out to all the places where people have like connected dots, and this person. Right now I'm looking at a document from Court TV where they have it, broken down, like the relationships of people in the case, because it's a lot. Former lead investigator, because he's been, thank you, Kurt. All right, let's get back into it.
All right, Mr. Jackson, whenever you're ready.
Thank
Get
you.
him, Alan.
Trooper Proctor, did you include in your investigative file any Sallyport report related to the Life 360 app that was on Ms. McCabe's phone that you earlier testified to?
Trooper Garino was our cell phone expert, kind of handled that. So I'm not positive if he generated that report.
Okay, so it goes without saying, I shouldn't say that, because if it goes without saying, I shouldn't say it. Did you review a Life 360 report in an effort to determine whether or not Colin and Allie were telling the truth?
No.
You grew up in Canton, did you not?
Yes.
I don't want an address, but just generally as a crow flies, how close would you say you live from the Albert residence the former Albert residence, 34 Fairview in Canton?
2-3 miles.
How about from the McCabe residence? Again, don't give me any addresses.
Maybe a mile.
Given the fact that you grew up in Canton, that it's about a mile walk through some woods to get to Canton High School from 34 Fairview, correct?
Yes.
Did you have any Canton police officers canvass the area around the high school, or filling stations around the high school, gas stations around the high school, for video surveillance footage?
No.
Did you have any conversations with anybody from Canton about video surveillance concerning the high school and or surrounding gas stations?
Yes.
Who is that?
It was Officer Galanis.
Can you turn to tab 9, please?
Oh God, takes him forever.
First, let me ask you if you recognize these texts with any individual.
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize those texts?
That was a text communication between Officer Galanis and myself.
Taking a look at those text communications, do you see the inclusive dates of those on the face sheet
Yes,
document?
I do.
What are those inclusive dates?
First message sent, date and time, February 18th, 2022, 1:02 p.m. Last message sent, date and time, February 18th, 2022, 2:05 p.m.
These are texts on a single day, correct?
That's correct.
If you would look at page 2623, in this text, you're asking a member of the Canton Police Department to look around the surrounding area of 34 Fairview Road for camera equipment, correct?
I was asking if they had any knowledge of cameras in the area.
Okay. And of course, that was to an officer who was employed by which department?
Canton Police Department.
which you knew at the time that you asked for assistance in February of 2022, had been recused from the case, correct?
What?
Correct.
And should have no investigative involvement in the case, correct?
I did not request for them to pull video. I just simply asked, what are some good cameras in the area?
Which is an assistance for you in your investigation, correct?
They have more knowledge in the area as far as
Just answer
useful
the
cameras. So yes,
question.
I reached out regarding cameras in the area.
Or assistance from Canton PD officers,
Yes.
whom you knew to be recused.
Yes.
Correct? Yes. You specifically asked Officer Galanis whether, quote, the high school had cameras facing the street, correct?
Correct.
And Officer Galanis writes back, the Canton Mutual gas station has unreal cameras. That's how I picked up that kid, and it had him walking into the woods by the new street Larkin Court, correct?
Correct.
You responded, good to know, I'll add that to the list, correct?
Yes.
Did any of the reports you turned over in discovery ever mention the Canton Mutual gas station cameras or the cameras from Canton High School?
No, because we did not retrieve any video from those locations.
And you didn't mention in your report that you even sought the footage from those locations, correct?
I don't believe so.
You did say that you would add it to the quote list, is that right?
Yes.
And you're aware, obviously, as one of your responsibilities, to maintain and keep your handwritten notes from all communications, all investigative activities involved in the case, correct?
Yes.
And you have no notes on this conversation, correct?
Correct.
As the
what
lead
are you
investigator,
good for?
Trooper Proctor, you are responsible ultimately for deciding which witnesses will be interviewed and which witnesses will not be interviewed, correct?
Like I mentioned yesterday or Monday.
I got to hear that again.
Will be interviewed and which witnesses. As the lead investigator, Trooper Proctor,
Yeah.
you are responsible ultimately for deciding which witnesses will be interviewed and which witnesses will not be interviewed, correct?
Yes or no?
Like I mentioned yesterday or Monday. It's a collaborative effort within the
No,
office,
no.
so it's
Objection. Judge Joleen is ruling you're being too elusive. You're trying to think too much. It's never good when you think clearly. Answer the question. Yes or no?
we bounce ideas off each other as far as what witnesses need to be interviewed, et cetera. So it's more of a group
Even people who are recused from the investigation?
effort, and a group decision.
So you want to blame the group?
But as the case officer, you make some of the final decisions on who's going to be investigated,
Are you the boss or not, dude?
who's going to be interviewed, things of that nature, right?
Right. Facilitate certain areas, yes.
Oh my God. The word salad.
I want to talk about some of the witnesses that you interviewed in the days
Objection.
and weeks immediately
I'm
following Mr. O'Keefe's death. You interviewed Brian Albert, correct?
Correct.
Nicole Albert, yes?
Yes.
Chris Albert,
Yes.
Julie Albert,
Yes.
Jennifer McCabe,
Yes.
So all your friends.
husband Matt McCabe.
Correct.
All those individuals are related in one way or another, either through marriage or otherwise, to each other, correct?
Yes, that's my understanding.
And you also interviewed Brian Higgins, is that right?
Yes.
I want to talk for a second about the individuals that you did not immediately choose to interview. Julie Nagel wasn't interviewed until October 2022, correct?
Correct.
That's
Damn.
7 months after the incident, right?
Holy shit.
Correct.
Sarah Levinson was not interviewed until October of
Whoa,
2022.
whoa. That is insane. Like someone who was there the night John O'Keefe was murdered. Someone was at the party where he's supposed to be at, the after party, and you're just like, I'll talk to you in about 7 months. That is not normal. No, sir.
Also 7 months later, correct?
Objection,
Correct.
liar.
Caitlin Albert was interviewed July 6th, 2023, correct?
Yes.
That's 16 months after the incident. Is that right?
Correct.
Brian Albert Jr., July 6th, 2023, right?
Yes, sir.
Allie McCabe, August of 2023, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's 18 months after the incident.
Holy shit.
correct?
Correct.
Heather Maxon, she was not interviewed until September 21st, 2023, 17 months later, correct?
Correct.
Or that's actually, my math is off, that's about 18 months later. Is that right?
Correct.
Richard D'Antano, September 2nd, 2023, is that right?
Yes.
So you waited more than 18 months to interview him as well, is that right?
Yes.
And then Brian Loughran, snowplow driver, August 2023, 17 months after the incident, correct?
Correct.
They really were like, we're just going to pin it on this girl. We don't need to investigate anymore. Case closed, solved. I mean, we heard earlier, like 16 hours or whatever into his investigation. He's like, yeah, it's the gal with the leaky balloon knot.
Talk for a second about this last individual, Brian Loughran. He also goes by the name Lucky, is that right?
Yes.
Lucky Loughran?
Isn't it funny how people whose nickname is Lucky, they're never lucky, like never.
You testified under oath on April 21st, 2022 in the state court grand jury proceeding that no snowplow traveled down Fairview Road on January 29th, correct?
Correct.
Why did you say that, Trooper Proctor?
That was based off interviews with Mr. Trotter, that the plows weren't out until they met up at 2:30. And then it was my understanding they were focusing on the main roadways.
You're aware that Michael Trotter testified in this case?
Okay.
Were you aware or not?
No.
Okay. You did, in fact, interview Michael Trotter, did you not?
Yes.
And isn't it true that Michael Trotter told you that, in fact, Brian Loughran was plowing 34 Fairview that morning?
Objection.
Is that what he told you?
I don't recall that statement from him.
Michael Trotter testified that that's what he told you. Do you have any quarrel with that?
Objection.
That's his statement.
In reality, Trooper Proctor, you did not want to speak to anybody in the weeks and months following this incident who didn't fit your narrative, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow it. Is that true?
That's simply not true. Absolutely not.
Certainly didn't want to talk to anybody who could say that there was no body on the lawn at 2:30 in the morning. Is that right?
No, it's not true.
Are you aware that Lucky Loughran, in fact, did report that there was no body on
Objection,
the
Your
lawn?
Honor.
So the objection sustained. I'm going to strike now.
Did you include anything in your investigative report throughout the entire time you've been in charge of this investigation about Lucky Loughran and his observations?
Not until Sergeant Buchanan and I interviewed him.
And that was when?
I can't recall the exact date.
And that was after the defense brought him to your attention, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Not true?
Correct.
Are you still the case agent in charge of this case?
Yes.
Not anymore.
As the lead investigator and the case agent, you're aware it's also your responsibility and your obligation to investigate all potential individuals, right? All potential suspects.
Yes.
You're obligated to investigate anybody who would have a motive, a means, and an opportunity to commit the crime or the offense, correct?
Correct.
Motive includes anything from financial gain to could just be revenge, right?
Yes.
Could be a lover's quarrel, correct?
Yes.
Or it could be someone who's interested in someone romantically, correct?
Well,
Could be an argument inside of a vehicle.
Higgins.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Could you? What
I
was
didn't
your
hear
answer?
So, or it could be an argument contained inside a vehicle as well.
Ah, yeah, which is the conclusion you jumped to.
Yep, he goes right to, oh, it could have been Karen Weed. Like, yeah, we know that part. That's the only person you looked into. That's the point of the questioning.
17 hours into your investigation, right?
Objection.
Overruled.
Yeah, overruled. Thank you, Auntie Bev. Overruled that shit because that is true. He admitted that. Like, you see that in his text messages that it was like 16, 17 hours. Like, we got the girl. No nudes yet.
All right.
It's something, evidence we have contained within cell phones reiterates that fact.
You don't,
But what about the cell phone that Brian Higgins disposed of and broke the SIM card and got rid of on a military base? You didn't even look at everybody's cell phones.
when you decided that you were going to make sure that the girl, I think that's what you called it, the girl
The girl.
was going to have serious charges brought against her 17 hours into your investigation, you didn't have any evidence whatsoever that there was an argument inside the vehicle, did you?
To go towards intent? No. But as far as the physical evidence goes, we have compelling evidence indicating Miss Reed struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle.
So you just did
Okay,
this.
Mr. Jackson, I just have to keep your voice up, Trooper Proctor, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Hard.
You just did this piecemeal. So when you decided that the girl, Miss Reed, was going to get serious charges against her, didn't have any indication of any intent. You just decided, oh, okay, I'm just going to go with the physical evidence today. I'll figure out intent later. I'll figure out motive later, right?
Yes.
Motive, means, and opportunity. We talked a little bit about motive. What about means? The physical ability to commit the crime,
No,
right? That's
that-
obviously important.
Yes.
And the opportunity. It's a physical proximity to the incident, correct? Or the
Correct.
physical ability to commit the crime, correct?
Correct.
Did you investigate all potential suspects who would have had the motive, means, and opportunity to kill John O'Keefe?
Yes. And that
What?
motive, means, factored in with the physical evidence pointed directly at Miss Reed. There's no one else had any motive. Mr. O'Keefe never went inside Fairview Road.
How
And
do
you
you
got all
know?
that, of course, from the Albertson case, right?
Yes.
Objection.
From your friend.
I'll allow it.
Let's talk about Brian Higgins for a second. You know that name?
I do, sir.
You personally interviewed Mr. Higgins, correct?
Sergeant Mechanic and I did, yes.
You keep adding other people into the interviews. I'm asking what you did, not what you and somebody else did. Did you personally interview Brian Higgins?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Yes, I did.
He's a fellow law enforcement officer, and you knew that, right?
Yes.
He was a colleague of yours, correct?
He worked in a different agency, yes.
You waited until February 10th to conduct a pre-scheduled interview with Mr. Higgins, didn't you?
Yes.
And you interviewed him in the presence of his attorney, correct?
Correct.
He told you that he was engaged in a flirtatious relationship with Miss Reed.
He did.
Oh,
As
but
a matter of
he's-
fact, he told you that he was engaged in a flirtatious relationship with Miss Reed over text messages, but on at least one occasion that resulted in a kiss, correct?
Yes.
And then he also told you that he had taken the liberty to extract certain conversations from his own cell phone, right?
Correct.
And he brought you a hard copy of those text messages, right?
He did.
And you knew that those text messages were messages that he curated to give to you, right?
Yes.
He's the one that made the determination of what was important, what was not important to give to you, his interviewer, right?
Objection.
Was that your understanding, Trooper?
It was my understanding Mr. Higgins was being very forthcoming by providing those messages. It's not uncommon for
Do you hear that breath? Like that's like a fear. I'm just speculate. Objection. You can't. Overruled. It's my YouTube channel. I can. That is like he's afraid of that big Brian Higgins. He's like, see that breath? Just talking about Brian Higgins. He's like, like a stutter step. He's got gas. He's getting GERD, acid reflux.
Give to you, right?
yes.
He's the one that made the determination of what was important, what was not important to give to you, his interviewer, right?
Objection.
Was that your understanding, Trooper?
It was my understanding Mr. Higgins was being
Like I do that. Like when you're scared, like you feel a ghost.
very forthcoming by providing those messages. It's not uncommon for witnesses
Breathe. Breathe, Proctor. Breathe.
to take screenshots or send us emails or send us text messages. So he just had a different means of producing text messages.
Artist.
Well, you were actually asked that question in a different proceeding, under different questioning. And you were asked whether or not in your career as a law enforcement officer has any person or witness ever brought a self-extraction of text messages to an in-person interview, correct?
Right?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
That's crazy.
Correct. Most
And your answer was,
civil. I'm
your
sorry,
answer
go ahead.
was, Trooper Proctor, you had never experienced that in the history of your career, correct?
Correct.
He is Brian Higgins' bitch.
You became aware pretty early on that Mr. Higgins at least had a motive to want to visit harm on John O'Keefe.
Yeah. He's sending sexy, flirty, maybe not sexy, because I don't think Brian Higgins knows how to be sexy, but like flirty texts with Karen Read, who's dating John O'Keefe. He definitely has a motive. This is like half of the date lines and half of the schmurders are based on love triangles and jealousy, men fighting men for vagina.
Keith, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
No, absolutely not.
Well, you knew he had this flirtatious relationship with Karen Read. Is that right?
Yes.
You became aware that he ignored, you saw the text messages. You became aware that Karen Read actually ignored text messages from Mr. Higgins while at the Waterfall Bar and Grill with John O'Keefe, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Yes.
And you're aware that at 12:20 a.m., Brian Higgins sent a text message to John O'Keefe, coaxing him to 34 Fairview, correct?
Objection.
I'll see you at sidebar on this.
Bev, why we gotta have a sidebar on this? Okay? Come on.
Bang, Clark? Yes. Thank you. You're aware that at 2:20 a.m., Brian Higgins sent a text message to John O'Keefe, prompting him to go to 34 Fairview, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow that one. Go ahead.
I don't recall that text.
Do you recall a text from Brian Higgins to John O'Keefe after they left Waterfall? Where are you at?
I don't recall that one either.
For-
You also recognized that Brian Higgins certainly had the means to commit the crime, correct?
No, I don't.
He's a big guy,
Mia.
certainly had the physical ability to.
Brian Higgins is like a freaking brontosaurus. All right. Do you see that guy's neck? Oh my God. He was like that. He's afraid Brian Higgins is going to eat him.
Into a physical altercation with John O'Keefe, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
He lives alone. I'm just saying. Check his hard drive.
Just because he's a big guy doesn't mean
You're scared. Sir, you're breathing like this. We just replayed it. When they started talking about Brian Higgins, that's when he started going.
doesn't have the means or the motive to hurt Mr. O'Keefe.
I wouldn't ask
They
you
were
about-
friends.
I want to ask you about
Were they friends? because he was flirting with his friend's girlfriend in text. It's not a really good friend, is it there, Proctor?
I'm asking about means. Could he do it? Could he throw a punch? Knock a guy down, knock a guy out?
I can't speak to his fighting ability, sir.
Well,
He's definitely beat you up before. Allegedly, everything I say is true except for the parts that are false. Everything is alleged and for entertainment purposes only. So don't even think about trying to sue me, trying to pull me into court.
Allegedly.
Okay?
You've met him, right?
That one interview, yes.
Yeah, he's huge. Do you agree?
I love how Alan's like, he's huge. He's huge. He'll eat you.
Objection.
Sustained.
He's a big dude, right?
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Bigger than me, right?
Yeah, but Alan, you're like LA fit.
Bigger than you.
Way bigger than you.
You knew that he was former military
I did, yes.
and is a trained ATF agent, federal agent, right?
Yes.
And you were in possession of video surveillance from the Waterfall Bar and Grill, correct?
Yes.
And literally in the minutes before John O'Keefe's death, you saw video surveillance of Brian Higgins and Brian Albert taking fighting stances with one another, correct?
I interpreted that as horsing around.
And then he ends up dead. And I'm just, they were just horsing around.
I didn't ask you how you interpreted it, Trooper Proctor. I asked you if you saw it.
Objection.
He couldn't even fathom as a lead investigator that this could have been a situation where it went horribly wrong. Maybe they were play fighting and then it turned serious. And then you got these text messages. You got him, lusting after Karen. Jesus, guy.
Sustained.
Did you see it or not?
I did.
And what you saw was these guys taking fighting stances, correct?
Objection.
Is that what you saw?
Playful fight stances.
But you waited until February 10th to interview him, correct?
Yes.
And you decided not to image his phone. Is that right?
Correct.
You didn't ask for consent to search his phone or to take his phone, correct?
No.
You didn't seek a search warrant to get his phone. Is that right?
No, sir.
Did you know that?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yes, Krista. This is what got you guys had been telling me last summer, like, Jolene, you have to watch Karen Read's case. I'm like, I don't want to. I don't even know. I thought it was like a child mother thing. I wasn't interested. But what really got me interested is how much reasonable doubt and how crazy it is that they went forward with this case with so much reasonable doubt. And then watching these testimonies, you're like, holy shit, this is crazy, right? Playful, just playful. Yeah. One guy ends up dead, but they were just playing. Okay.
On January 29th at 2:22 a.m., there was a call between him and Brian Albert that morning.
I was not aware of that.
What
Might have
do
been
you know?
important to your investigation, don't you think?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, Bev.
Depends what that. I don't know what the call was
I'm
about.
sorry, finish that.
I don't know what the call was about. I don't know if they actually connected and communicated what the length of the call was. So
Right. And you never asked, did you?
Ooh, get him, Alan.
I was unaware that call took place.
And you were unaware that that call took place because you didn't get his phone, Trooper Proctor, right?
Typically, we don't get witnesses' phones, sir.
You were unaware of that call at that time because you didn't see his phone, correct?
Objection.
Mhm.
The medical examiner notified you on April 28th, 2022, that the manner of death, in her words, could not be determined. Is that right?
Yes.
She would not rule, at least in terms of the manner of death, would not rule this a homicide. Is that right?
That's correct.
And you agree that that's obviously a pretty significant finding.
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Her finding doesn't alter how we conduct our investigation, whether if it's undetermined or ruled a homicide. We're still going to continue to investigate one way, regardless of her determination.
Regardless.
You obviously were not pleased with that. You were not pleased with that determination, right?
It didn't matter one way or the other because, like I said, we continue on with the investigation.
On April 28th, that same day, you received a text message from Trooper DeChico, correct?
Yes.
You turn to tab 11, please.
What's the ID number?
This is 2618. I'm sorry, tab 11
Triple
is
F.
GGG, triple G is in golf.
Triple G's.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Do you have that in front of you, Trooper Proctor?
I do, sir.
You turn to page 2618. Do you see a text message received from Trooper DeChico with a photograph of the autopsy report?
Come on, Proctor.
Yes.
Play, Proctor.
And that autopsy report indicates undetermined. Is that right?
For manner, yes.
In response, You wrote a text message to DeChico, correct?
I did.
What was your response?
Of course, it's undetermined.
And then what else did you write?
She was a whack job.
Oh,
Of course, it's undetermined. She was a whack job.
objection. Huge bias. Proctor's an asshole. Sustained. Sustained. Thank you. Thank you, Judge Joleen. Thank you, Lawyer Joleen. This guy from day one calling her a whack job. There's no way she could have gotten from this man a fair and unbiased investigation. Just from the jump. He's like, she's a whack job. Leaky balloon knot.
Right? Those are your two responses, right?
Yes.
You were talking about Dr. Scordy Bello, the female medical examiner who came to the determination that this was undetermined in terms of the manner of death, correct?
I'm not sure who I'm referencing as far as she was a whack job, but of course,
You calling another woman a whack job? Oh my God.
it's undetermined is a sarcastic response from me.
The reason you referred to Dr. Scordy Bello as a whack job
Oh, so it's just another woman. This is okay. I get it. I get it now. So he's just like, yeah, everyone has all these women whack jobs.
is because the cut and dry case that you had hoped for wasn't really going your way, right?
Yeah. So why not just defame him? So why not just be like, just dismiss him as whack jobs because it's not going like Alan Jackson says in the way he wants it to.
Objection.
Sustained.
When you referred to she's a whack job, were you referring to Dr. Scordy Bello?
I don't recall.
And you're referring to a doctor that way, sir. You can't even read and you have to talk to your sister 6 times a day. Like what? Get some self-awareness.
Were you displeased with the undetermined finding instead of a homicide finding because that was an obstacle in your investigation?
Objection.
You can break that down.
Were you displeased about the undetermined finding?
No.
Would you have rather had a determined finding that it was a homicide?
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter to my office. We still investigate the same exact way if it's ruled determined, undetermined, or homicide.
Then why is she a whack
Well, then why
job?
would you say, of course it's undetermined?
Thank
She was a whack job,
Thank you, Alan.
sarcastically.
It was a sarcastic remark I made to Trooper DeChico.
Right?
Why?
Which sort of suggests displeasure rather than the reverse, correct?
Objection.
You'd agree that it's extremely unusual for the manner of death to be undetermined in a homicide investigation you've worked on, correct?
Objection.
How many murder cases in the history of your career have you worked on in which the medical examiner made the determination?
I would be like, so, objection. Go ahead. So are there any women who aren't your sister or friends with your sister that are not whack jobs? Okay. Because it seems like you're calling everybody a whack job.
That the manner of death could not be determined?
Objection.
I'm going to allow that.
How many murder cases in the history of your career have you worked on in which the medical examiner made the determination that the manner of death could not be determined?
Objection.
I'm going to allow that.
Thank you for allowing it, Bab.
Wouldn't feel comfortable putting a number on it. It's not a lot. I couldn't ballpark it for you, but I know it's not a lot.
Under 10, more
Trooper
than
Proctor,
10,
you
more
were
than
asked this
20.
exact question in February of 2024 at another proceeding.
Did he just roll his eyes or was he trying to use his brain? I can't. He's like, he might have had a seizure. I don't know.
Trooper Proctor, you were asked this exact question in February of 2024 at another.
Because he was like it's overload. He's like, never used brain this much. Too many questions. I gotta slow that shit down. That shit's funny.
Not a lot.
Trooper Proctor, you were asked this exact question in February of 2024
Watch his eyes.
at another proceeding.
Mm-hmm.
And you indicated that you had never seen it in your entire career, correct?
Looking up to the sky. That God ain't gonna give you the answers, sir.
I'm trying to run.
Well, you were asked the
Trying to use my Abdullah Oblongata.
question. So first, what do you mean by, of course it's undetermined? And your answer was, I said it at the time. It was kind of like, not like figuratively, of course. It's, and of course, like I had never really seen that before in a homicide, end quote. Correct?
Yes.
Your statement in February of 2024, under oath, was,
Right,
I've
Artist?
literally never seen that in any homicide you've ever worked, right?
Yes.
I think that is the point. What Artist is saying here is the point why so many people are now watching and we're into watching the first trial and they're into watching the second trial. It's just like Artist says, just imagine if Karenread didn't have the resources. I mean, I know now she's drained a lot of her financial resources for this investigation and for them to, you know, I think in her most recent interview, she was talking, her and Alan Jackson were talking about how they're not even taking money anymore or something. Alan Jackson and team, it's more paying for the, what do you call it? My perimenopause brain fog here, but they're paying for the experts and things like that within the case. But imagine all the people who can't afford that and don't, you know, there's not eyes on their cases and they don't have, you know, now the public has given a lot of money and things, and how many people have been, you know, prosecuted falsely or, you know, been subject to this kind of thing in this area or anywhere in the country. Like, it's truly, truly scary, because if you do not have the resources to get yourself good attorneys, you're screwed. So it's kind of like it could happen to anybody. And that's the thing, that with a lot of these cases, when they when people get really interested, whether it's a case or, you know, even talking about how we talk about Bravo and Scandival, it was because, you know, Scandival hit because it was something that a lot of women could relate to and men could relate to. So
After she reached that conclusion, you discussed this with one of your colleagues about how you tried to put pressure on her to change her or alter her opinion, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Is that
All
what
right.
you did?
Pressure? Absolutely not.
Let's turn to tab 12.
absolutely
Yes, go ahead.
not.
Thank you. To begin with, Trooper Proctor, do you recognize the face page of that series of text messages in tab 12?
Yes.
Is that the text messages between you and Trooper Chico, one of your colleagues?
The cheek
It is,
bone.
yes.
Turn to page 2632, if you wouldn't mind. Tell me when you're ready.
Go ahead, sir.
Trooper DeChico texted you, rookie move, not going into a meeting with the ME and getting that homicide determination, correct?
Yes.
How did you interpret that? Rookie move, not getting that homicide determination.
You know, when Trooper Chico, it's him busting my chops and joking with me.
He's like, Trooper DeChico's roasting my ass up.
Because you see it as your job, you and Trooper DeChico, to go in and get the homicide determination. That's your job, right?
Buy me
Not at
now.
all, sir.
You're not looking so much for her opinion as looking to give her your opinion, right?
Absolutely not.
You responded, Yuri and I, who's Yuri?
Sergeant Buchanan.
Yuri and I had 2 conference calls with her, sent her numerous photos, etc. We laid out the entire case for her. That was your response, correct?
Yes.
You were explaining how much effort you went to try to get her to change your opinion to homicide, right?
Objection.
No, not at all.
DeChico then responds, not good enough. Should have had me and Jeff do it, right?
Yes, that was his response.
Busting your chops
Yeah.
that you didn't meet the standard of getting her to change her mind to make it a homicide, right? That's what he was. That's what he was busting your chops about.
We would never try to change the mind of a medical examiner. The doctor who conducts the autopsy often has questions. They want to know the facts, kind of what had transpired leading up to a victim's death. It happens.
Look at Alan looking at him like, you lying ass. You called her a whack job. You were pissed that you didn't get what you wanted to get out of this medical examiner.
Not only in homicides, but the unattended deaths we also attend to, you know, suicide and overdose. So it's common to have these conversations with doctors.
Right. But in response to getting the information that she made the determination and held on to it, that this was undetermined, your answer was, of course it's undetermined. She was just a whack job, right?
With sarcasm.
We don't need your sarcasm. You're not a
Ultimately,
comedian.
did the doctor change her opinion?
No.
But the determination of the medical examiner that didn't matter to you, right? Because you had already decided you were going to charge Miss Reed with murder anyway.
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, the determination did not matter as we continued on with the investigation.
Notwithstanding the medical findings in the case, correct? That it was not determined to be a homicide, right?
Considering the matter, but
And that's because even though in the words of the prior group chat that this whole thing stinks, you were going to make it cut and dry by putting it on the girl, putting serious charges on the girl, notwithstanding what the medical examiner said,
That
right?
part.
Objection.
Sustained.
You were actually asked this question, whether or not it would have an impact on your decision, notwithstanding what the medical examiner's decision was, correct? Your decision to charge her. Is that right?
yes,
On February 1st, 2024, you were asked, so what you're telling this grand jury today, and you expect this grand jury to believe that you didn't care whether the medical examiner came back with a homicide determination? It doesn't matter to you? And your answer, quote, no, because either way, Ms. Reed was going to be charged. Right?
Correct.
Damn.
That's how you make the case cut and dry, isn't it?
Objection.
Sustained.
In other words, Trooper Proctor, to hell with the medical evidence, Karen Reed was going to be charged because that's what you had decided to do, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
That's what it sounds like.
I want to change gears for a second and ask you about some electronic data.
This dude's like, I just shit my pants. Like, he just looks guilty. If anyone is like a kid, when you know they're lying, they're like, I didn't take the cookie, and the cookie's like in their mouth and they're still chewing out. I didn't take the. This is what this guy looks like. He's like, he just shit himself. It's crazy.
Specifically as it pertains to Jennifer McCabe. You're aware that Jennifer McCabe deleted texts and calls from her phone before she turned it over to you?
Objection.
I'll allow that. Are you aware of that?
I'm not aware of that.
Are you aware that there were texts and calls missing from her phone before having that phone turned over to you?
I'm not aware of that.
Did you look at the extraction report, the Celebrate extraction report from her phone?
I have, yes.
And you didn't see the columns marked deleted, 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 deleted?
No, I'm not that area. No,
No, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
not that area.
Not that area,
Not
meaning
that area.
what does that mean? I don't know.
I was looking for nudes. I was looking for a leaky balloon knot. I wasn't looking at that.
What you mean by not that area.
I went through the Sallyport report, but clearly I didn't review that tab.
Huh?
So as you sit here, you're unaware of whether or not multiple texts and multiple phone calls were deleted from her phone that you have in your possession?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, I'm not aware right now, sir.
You don't know anything.
As the case agent, as the case officer, do you believe it might be important to find out whether or not that phone appeared
Right?
to have been manipulated or altered in some way before it was turned over? Wouldn't that be something that you would normally do?
You think?
That'd be important.
But you didn't do it with Jim McCabe's phone.
Why didn't you do it?
I didn't personally handle that. No.
You're the lead.
Did you ever seize Nicole Albert's phone?
No.
Did you ever seize Brian Albert's phone?
No.
Colin Albert's?
No.
Chris Albert's?
No.
Julie Albert's?
No.
Brian Hagan.
Were you concerned that if you seized any or all of their phones, especially Colin, Julie, and Chris, that there might be some indicators that you knew them on those phones?
Oh shit.
No, that thought never crossed my mind.
Yeah, right.
But the fact remains, you never sought to seize any of those, did you?
No, I don't.
I feel like this is body language experts who just see like that long eye closed and open. Of course you were afraid of that.
Especially Colin, Julie, and Chris, that there might be some indicators
Watch
that you knew them
his eyes.
on those phones?
No, that thought never crossed my mind.
Looked right at the jury. No. He's like,
But the fact remains, you never sought to seize any of those, did you?
oh damn.
No,
It's like after the lie, kind of like pulling your face back in, like your body reacting, going, whew, that was a lot of lies, Michael.
And you never asked, irrespective of what you saw in the Celebrate report, you never asked Jennifer McCabe whether or not that was a complete and accurate, I should say. Let me ask it a different way. Did you ever ask Jennifer McCabe whether or not she ever altered anything on her phone before turning it in?
Right
I did
now,
not. Again, I didn't handle Miss McCabe's phone. I do the cell phone extraction on it.
I want to ask you about another issue concerning a potential conflict of interest.
Uh-oh.
You were well aware
More
that
water.
Canton PD was supposed to be, we talked about this at some length, conflicted off the case as of January 29th, 2022, right?
Correct.
And you even put it in that text message, not Cat, it's total opposite. They have to recuse themselves, BPD. Same with Ken, right?
Yes.
Those are your words on January 29th, right?
Yes.
And you knew that one of the reasons for Canton PD to recuse itself is because of the relationship between the Alberts and one of the detectives on Canton PD, Kevin Albert, right?
Correct.
You knew that Kevin Albert was the primary source of the conflict, correct?
Yes.
And you knew that he, above everybody else, should be completely removed from any contact with the investigation or the investigators, right?
Correct.
Yet when you wanted to coordinate witnesses for interviews in this case, who'd you turn to?
I texted Kevin Albert to see if he could secure a conference room for us to conduct interviews at the station.
The same Kevin Albert to help coordinate these witness interviews, who's the brother of Brian, right?
Yes.
If you could turn to tab 13, please. Do
Jesus.
you have that in front of you, Trooper Proctor?
Yes, I do.
If you'll turn to page 2591, can you see that on January 30th, 2022, at about 11:55 a.m., Kevin Albert texts you on your personal cell phone, Paul G is reviewing the reports now. Steve Seraph is here if you need to interview him, and we can call Stephen Mullaney in as well, end quote. You see that?
Yes.
Who's Paul G?
Lieutenant Paul Gallagher.
So Kevin Albert, a Canton PD officer, and an Albert is texting you about Paul Gallagher, another Canton officer, about interviewing Steve Seraph, another Canton officer, and Steve Mullaney, a second Canton officer, correct?
Correct.
What investigation was Kevin Albert referring to in the text?
The death of John O'Keefe.
This investigation.
Correct.
Did you tell Kevin Albert it's completely inappropriate for him to be involved in this case at all?
I did not.
Did you tell him he shouldn't be having any contact with any of the witnesses, and he shouldn't even be having contact with you? Did you tell him that?
I did not.
What you did write back was, quote, okay, Yuri and I are coming in at 1 to interview a firefighter, Katie, correct?
That's right.
So not only did you tell him that you were engaged in the process of obtaining interviews, you told him the name of the interviewee, right?
Yes.
And you were going to do it at Canton PD, correct?
Correct.
So you're sharing information about the identity of witnesses that you intend to interview with Brian Albert's brother, right?
Yes.
Then you asked Kevin Albert to actually contact the witnesses in order to schedule their interviews, didn't you?
Yeah, I believe it was Officer Mullaney and Seraph.
Oh my
Look at page
God.
2592.
Get that
You
hydration.
said, I'm sorry, Kevin Albert texts, okay, so I'll get Mullaney in as well. You interviewing her here? And you respond, yeah, if we can line them up for 1:30 and 2, that would be great, correct?
Yes.
So you were leaving it up to Kevin Albert to contact and coordinate with the witnesses that you intended to interview at Canton PD, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Correct.
You then answered anytime in the ballpark. I'm sorry, yes, you answered anytime in the ballpark, then you went on and said from 1:30 on, correct?
Okay, this is just like insane, like Kurt's saying. And Albert to coordinate interviews about the murder at his brother's house. Literally, Brian Albert, it was his house where John O'Keefe was found in the yard. And the lead investigator is like, yeah, I let his brother, Kevin Albert, coordinate the interviews for a murder that happened at his brother's house. And we don't see the conflict there. How did this, every time I go through this, I'm like, how did this case, how did they even get it to the point where they could go, yeah, definitely can, we know beyond a reasonable doubt there, we got all the evidence there. This is crazy.
Correct?
Yes.
Crazy.
Kevin Albert then says, okay, sounds good.
Objection.
And then he
you're dumb.
responds, if you want to interview witnesses in the recorded room here, you're more than welcome. You see that?
I do.
He was referring to an interview room or an interrogation room where there's surreptitious recording devices, correct?
Yes.
That's to help facilitate memorializing interviews that police officers want to take with any witness in a crime, right?
Correct.
That would mean that if you used a recorded room, those recordings would be in the hands of which agency?
That's why we did not use that recorded room.
But he offered, didn't he?
He offered. We did not use it.
Did you see that as a problem?
That he offered?
Yeah.
No, I don't, sir.
You see that as a problem because he might, I don't know, take some of those interviews and forward them to his brother?
Objection.
Sustain. You can ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Were you concerned that Kevin Albert was offering to utilize Canton's recording programs facility in order to get access to what the witnesses were saying so that he could then forward that or tell his brother?
No.
Never crossed your mind?
Never.
Of course, he doesn't have a
If it
mind.
never crossed your mind, why didn't you go ahead and use the recording room?
Oh, shit.
Typically don't record our interviews.
That's not what you said a second ago. You said the reason we didn't use the recording room is because of the obvious possibility that Kevin Albert and Canton PD could have access to the recordings.
Objection.
Sustain.
Didn't you say that's why we didn't use it?
No.
What was your answer?
No.
What did you say?
That we didn't use it. You,
When I said, if you made a recording, it would be in the hands of which agency? Obviously Canton PD. And your answer was, that's why we didn't use the recorded room, right?
no, I don't recall saying that's why we didn't use the room.
You just said it, Proctor. I mean, it's been 10 minutes, it's been 4 minutes.
No.
You don't remember that?
Not specifically stated like that.
All right, let me ask you a different way. If you weren't concerned that the interviews could be compromised by Canton PD and Kevin Albert, why didn't you just use the room? It was offered up.
Typically we don't record interviews. With a cooperating witness, we just sit down with them, take notes. If it's someone we deem necessary to actually have a recording of, then we'll pursue that option.
These sounds pretty necessary.
Mr. Proctor, after you knew that Canton Police Department was conflicted off the case, you continued to have a very close relationship with yet another Albert, Kevin Albert, correct?
We worked on a cold case together.
So you did have a close personal and professional relationship with Kevin Albert, didn't you?
We worked on a cold case together. Now it's freezing cold. Okay, because we convicted somebody, we got somebody, but it's not the right person. But we just needed somebody.
I'd say it was a professional relationship.
Were they lovers?
Only a professional relationship?
Were you cuddling, Proctor?
Him and I were members at a gym together, and
Oh, that sounds sexy.
we worked a cold case together for
Oof, but they made it warm.
several months.
Drinking, socializing, maybe?
Drinking. Of course they're drinking. Everyone there is drunk,
Once in a while.
which is like 5 times a day when I'm talking to my sister, Courtney.
So it went beyond professional, right?
Yeah, acquaintances.
Drinking
Cuddle buddies.
acquaintances, right?
On several occasions,
We got drunk, spilled our secrets, touch each other's tips only.
yes.
Socializing acquaintances, right?
On several occasions.
So when you told the jury a few minutes ago that you were aware of and knew of, but didn't have relationships with 3 Alberts, Julie, Chris, and Colin, not quite true, is it?
Objection.
Sustained.
There's a 4th Albert out there, isn't there? Okay. Right?
Yes.
But you didn't tell us about that one,
Objection.
Oh shit,
I'll
liar.
correct?
I don't consider that a relationship. It's
Well, let's look at that. 5 months into this investigation, in July of 2022, you were actually continuing to socialize with Kevin Albert, weren't you?
yes.
On July
Great
19th,
lover.
2022, you and Kevin Albert went out drinking together, didn't you? Triple Proctor, I'm not asking you to look for anything in the binder at this
Do
point.
you
I'm asking if
remember?
I don't recall that.
You don't recall the date, or you don't recall
July 19th, 2022.
you don't recall the drinking?
The date itself, sir.
Why don't we turn to tab 13?
Yes, sir.
Do I have a number or a letter?
We're still in tab 13. Are we still in tab 13?
All right. So what?
Bev, was I there? I was okay. Just want to make sure. Objection. I wasn't there. Okay. Sustained. Got it. All right.
Page, Mr. Jackson.
Page 2602. May I?
Yes.
Thank you. Triple Proctor, are you on 2602?
I am.
The fact of that, does that refresh your recollection that on July 19th, 2022, you and Kevin Albert have been out drinking together?
It does.
In fact, the two of you got so drunk that Kevin Albert left his badge in your cruiser and couldn't find his gun. the next
What?
morning, right?
Objection.
Overruled.
I can't speak to any level of intoxication, but I don't recall either of us being intoxicated.
Got it. So isn't it true that at 7/20, July 20th, 2022, the day after, at 8:39 in the morning, you texted Kevin Albert, quote, "Found your badge in my cruiser this morning," end quote, correct?
Yes.
Then you texted him, "I can leave it in my locker at the gym, drop it off at your station, or leave it in my mailbox," correct?
Correct.
Kevin Albert responds,
Hey, you forgot your badge in my cruiser. You forgot your gun too. Yeah, I'll leave it in my locker at my house. I'll write you a love letter. Oh, I'm gonna write you a love song. Oh,
"My mailbox. Did I take my gun?" And then included a win or leave it in my mailbox, correct?
Correct.
Kevin Albert responds, "My mailbox. Did I take my gun?" And then included a wince face emoji, correct?
Correct.
So the fact of the matter is, you two got so drunk that he couldn't find his badge and had to ask you the next morning where his gun was.
oh my God. Oh my God. That what? These two. Yeah, we weren't really that close. We did get really drunk, and then he couldn't find where his gun was. But we didn't. I don't remember getting that drunk. You don't remember because you were wasted. My God, this is just crazy. Okay, we need a little bit of this. It's like this shit don't even make sense. Just like this.
John's boyfriend, Karenread, killed him.
Not John's boyfriend. Court TV. This case has just messed everybody up.
John's boyfriend, Karenread, killed him.
Oh my God. Okay, here we go.
Right?
Again, I can't speak to any level of intoxication, whether you just forgot it. I don't know.
I'm not asking you about his BAC, Trooper Proctor. I'm asking, have you seen drunk people before?
Yes.
You've been drunk before.
Yes, I have, sir.
We've all been drunk before, right?
Yes.
Was he drunk? Were you drunk that night?
I don't recall. It was a long time ago.
But he left his badge in your cruiser.
And he doesn't
after
know
a
if
night
he
of
had his
drinking. Is
gun.
that right?
Yes.
Which means you were drinking and driving in your cruiser. Right?
From what I remember, we were down the Cape working on the cold case together and stopped for dinner, had a few beers, and then dropped him off.
So basically, you work on the cold cases wasted. Every case you're working on, you're drunk. Oh my gosh.
The next morning, Kevin Albert also texted you
Got
at
him.
page 2606.
Deep breaths from Proctor
Starting with
exam.
it's bad. Tell me when you see that.
He is crashing.
Okay, I see it.
Kevin Albert responded, "It's bad!" Exclamation point, exclamation point. I was hungover for sure today. Exclamation point, exclamation point. Couple tonight to make me feel good. End quote. Correct?
Correct.
You can take that down. Is that
These friggin' lying alcoholics over here. He's like, hair of the dog. Got to have a couple today to get through the day because I was hungover. But you don't remember if you were drunk.
fresh your recollection? The two of you had been out drinking the night before. He got so drunk that he couldn't find his badge and
Or his
couldn't even
pants.
find his gun.
Where's my undies?
Yes, it does refresh my memory.
Right. And you're in your cruiser.
Right, Mallory? What did you guys do in the cruiser?
Yes, sir.
And this is with Brian Albert's brother, Trooper Proctor.
Correct.
Just say it. I know that Alan Jackson can't say it this way because, but this is you partying, getting this drunk while being the lead investigator of a case where, so the guy you're drunk and partying with, the murder, you're the lead investigator of a murder that happened at his brother's house. And you don't see anything weird about that. Okay. All right. Literally, his brother's house is where John O'Keefe's body was found. Oh, Jesus. Oh.
I'm going to change gears, Trooper Proctor. You personally collected John O'Keefe's clothes from the hospital at Good Sam in Brockton, did you not?
I did.
I'd like to.
I did. I took him off
At the
myself.
time you were at Good Sam, you actually had the opportunity, you had the occasion to see Mr. O'Keefe in the hospital, correct?
Yes.
You also had the occasion to see his clothing in the hospital, correct?
Yes.
That's the clothing that you ultimately gathered, is that right?
Correct.
May I approach you on that?
Yes.
If you could take a look at that.
Home with a
Tell
butt
me if you
dial.
recognize it.
I do.
That photograph of you. I'm sorry, it's not of you, but do you see your legs in that photograph?
Yes,
Okay, and you also see the legs of Mr. O'Keefe on the hospital gurney, correct?
I do.
And you see a pile of clothes there?
Correct.
All right, if I can have this marked and limited.
Objection?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
May I inquire?
Yes.
Thank you. Request the court's permission to publish.
Okay.
Do you see this? Do you see the photograph in front of you? Is that the same photograph that's been published up on the television screen?
Yes, sir.
Directing your attention to the leftmost portion of the photograph, you see the clothes. First, the clothes on the ground.
I do. Yes.
Okay, that appears to be what? What items or articles of clothing do you see?
The T-shirt, possibly the jeans.
Gray shirt as well.
Yes,
And those are your legs to the uppermost part of the screen, correct?
I believe.
In the blue pants.
Yes.
And you see to the leftmost portion of the screen chair?
I do.
See what's on that chair?
My binder.
That's your portfolio?
It is.
That's something that you carry routinely as you're investigating during the course of your investigations?
Yes.
You keep your notes and things of that nature?
Yes.
Pens, paper?
Correct.
All right. Let me take that down. You indicated that you took possession of those clothing items from Good Samaritan Hospital, correct? You bagged them? Bagged, B-A-G-G-E-D, bagged them?
Yes.
And then what did you do with them after that?
We secured them in Sergeant Buchanan's pickup truck.
And then what happened to them after they were
And we
secured in
went
this pickup truck?
drinking.
We traveled to Dighton
The
to
box.
Mr. Reed's house.
Once you ultimately got back, I don't want to have to take you through the entire, everybody knows where you went.
Okay.
Sergeant Buchanan's already testified. You get back to
Oh my
Canton
God.
at some point, correct?
Yes.
Ultimately, were the clothes transported into the your facility
Yes.
at the DA's office?
Correct.
Okay. What did you do with them after that?
We brought them to the evidence
I'm
processing
going to
area.
ask you what you did, not what we did, what you did.
Sergeant Buchanan and I brought them to the evidence processing area, laid out butcher paper so the clothes could dry, put them on there in that area. And then I brought 2 cell phones to Trooper Garino so he could try to attempt to extract the phones.
What did you do with the clothing after it was dried out?
So the next day, Trooper DeChico arrived and brought them into the
Oh,
permanent evidence area where only him and another trooper in my office have access to. So they were secured from that at that point.
So you didn't book them into evidence?
I did not know.
When they're booked into evidence, there's supposed to be a log of that, correct?
I'm sorry?
There's supposed to be a log of that when they're booked into evidence, correct?
Yes.
You're the case officer on the case. One of your responsibilities is to make sure that chain of custody is maintained
Thank
throughout
you,
the entirety of
Rosemary.
the investigation, all the way up to a courtroom, correct?
Yes.
Where's the log
sustained.
of those items being booked into evidence?
There was a chain of custody from when they entered the DA's office, and then when Trooper DeChico created a label for them, but also put them in a secure facility.
Can you show me where that is?
I'm not the evidence office. I don't have that.
I see. So you didn't bring a log with you of any sort concerning the chain of custody of these items, correct?
No.
As a matter of fact, the reason you didn't bring that chain of custody log is because none exists. Isn't that right?
Objection.
Sustained, ask it differently.
Does
Ask it
a physical
differently.
log exist starting
Thanks,
from
sir.
January 29th, 2022 to today?
Yes.
Where's that physical log, sir?
In his pants.
I'm not an evidence officer, so I don't know how
Oh,
I don't know how that's
My
generated.
God, this guy I hope he's drunk because this is just dumb. Thank you, Rosemary. Objection overruled. I love a super chat. Judge Jolene. Thank you, Rosemary B.
Right. So as a case officer, you have no idea where an evidence log is that has something as insignificant as, I don't know, the victim's clothing.
Objection.
Sustained.
The fact of the matter is, the evidence log attendant to this case regarding those clothing items starts on March 14th when they were taken to the crime lab, correct?
That's when the clothing was transported to the lab.
And that's the only log we have of what happened to those clothes between January 29th and today.
Objection.
This guy, I think he might be shitting his pants right now because he's doing this something's going on. Watch his face.
And that's the only log we have of what happened to those clothes between January 29th and today.
Objection.
Overruled. Do you know that?
I don't. I'm not off the top of my head, ma'am.
He's drunk or he's on ketamine. Something's going on. Something's happening here. He's like, trying to stay awake.
I want to talk for a second about the searches in Brian Albert's front lawn that took place on and after January 29th, 2022. As a case officer, Trooper Proctor, you also took control of the taillight pieces that were ultimately claimed to have been found at that location,
Yeah,
correct?
talk about the taillight pieces.
Not in all searches.
Which of the pieces that were found were you responsible for taking control of?
The 8th, 11th, and 18th.
Even his grunting, and I have this sped up to 1.3, and he's still this slow. He's like,
So who had control over the items
he's a mouth breather. Do you see him? He's like,
that were found before the 8th? You said the 8th, 11th, and 18th, right?
Those are items that I had found on those days and that I had processed and essentially bagged and tagged them and handed them over to our evidence officer. There was multiple.
did you say bagged and tagged him or bagged and tagged him?
And that I had processed and essentially bagged and tagged them and
Bagged and tagged him.
handed them over to our evidence officer. There was multiple days that troopers were out there looking for more evidence.
So there would be a log of that too. right?
Again, how the system works as far as the evidence comes in, I can't speak to that.
So you have no idea what the chain of custody of any of these items are, the clothing or the taillight material, from January 29th until March 14th, when the evidence log starts. Is that what you're saying?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
You're the lead investigator, bro.
There is a log. I mean, it's in our
Damn.
system where labels are created, and it generates the time and date that a label's created, and then it shows that it's at our office in a secure facility, and then it was brought to the lab on the 14th.
Well, what happens if the label is created and says something like, I don't know, February 4th? What happens to the items before February 4th?
They were stored in a secured facility, a secured room.
Says who? Where's the log?
Hey, Teacher B.
Objection.
Sustained.
Is there a log of that?
Where's the log?
Not to my knowledge.
Oh, Jesus.
You were responsible for seizing Miss Reed's car, correct?
Yes,
And you originally claimed that that seizure took place at 5:30 p.m. Is that right?
correct.
You signed numerous affidavits under oath, claiming that you did not seize Miss Reed's vehicle until 5:30 p.m. on January 29, 2022, right?
Correct.
At the time that you seized Miss Reed's vehicle, you were unaware that there was alarm.com surveillance footage of the area from which the car was seized, correct?
Correct.
The fact of the matter is, that was false.
Oh.
The car was not seized at 5:30, was it?
Oh,
4:16 p.m.
shit.
Right. An hour and change, an hour and 18 minutes, hour and 20 minutes earlier. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you ever seek to change or amend the error, the false statement about the time
So
the car received it seized in any of those documents that you filed under oath?
when I incorrectly transcribed the times, it was on the first affidavit I had written. And then as I continued to write other search warrants, I used that as a template. So I never caught it on the first one. And that's the reason those times are off on the other affidavits I wrote.
What's he talking
So the
about?
first one was false, and then every single one after that was false too.
There was just an incorrect
Mhm.
transcription of time.
An incorrect transcription of the time. We
Yes.
call that, I don't know, a Scrivener's error.
Objection.
Ask it differently.
What do you call that?
Transcription of time.
An incorrect transcription of the time. We
Yes.
call that, I don't know, a Scrivener's error.
Objection.
Ask it differently.
Sure.
Ask it differently.
Was it a typo?
Yes.
It was a typo. So you got the 4 wrong, you got the 1 wrong, and you got the 6 wrong.
Ah!
And those turned into 5 and 3 and 0, right?
They were typos, sir.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a lot of typos.
Um,
Very important.
the fact of the matter is, you delivered that car to Canton PD, to the Sallyport garage, before a single piece of taillight material was ever found in this case. Trooper Proctor, is that correct?
Correct. It arrives at 5:31.
And you also towed it to the Canton Police Department because that was conveniently close to the location at 34 Fairview, to the crime scene.
Brian
right?
Albert's house.
That was not my decision.
Whose decision was it?
I don't recall. I know
Kevin
that
Albert's.
Well, you're the case officer.
I wouldn't.
Who decides?
It wasn't my decision. I did not make that call, sir.
So who are we pointing the finger at?
It wasn't my decision. We were at the bar. We were taking shots. I was like, Kevin, Albert, Brian came too. And I was like, Brian, you want to take the car? And then Brian took the car down there.
Was it Sergeant Buchanan?
Objection.
Ask it differently, Mr.
Sure.
Jackson.
Was it Sergeant Buchanan who made that decision to transport it to Canton?
I don't
It's a
remember.
supervisor's decision. I don't know who it came from.
Was it
Mm.
Lieutenant Tully?
We
Again, I don't know who
flipped
it came from.
So you were just following orders.
Yes.
He doesn't know anything. He's just the lead
Um,
investigator.
You are aware that Massachusetts State Police, your agency, actually has not one, but 2 barracks, one in Middleborough, one in Foxborough, that are both closer as crow flies than the Canton PD south,
Oh, shit.
from where the car was towed, correct?
Yes.
Both of those facilities were passed by, and the car was ultimately placed at Canton PD Sallyport at 5:31 or so, right?
Yes.
And you're aware that Sallyport is about 3 minutes from 34 Fairview?
Yes.
Pooper Proctor.
Trooper Proctor, you're the lead case officer on this case. That means that you were required to collect and maintain all the videos that were pulled in connection with this investigation, correct?
Correct.
And you obviously are aware of your legal obligation to turn over any and all exculpatory information that you might come in possession of, correct?
Objection.
That's sustained.
You did pull a lot of video in connection with this case, did you not?
Yes.
About 290 videos from the Ring camera, located in the driveway at One Meadows. Does that sound about right? I don't expect you to have counted every single one, but just under 300.
Correct.
A ton of them, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's getting
Another 140 videos or so from the front door ring camera of that same location, One Meadows, right?
Yes.
9 videos from the Waterfall Bar and Grill.
Yes.
8 videos from the Temple Beth
Yes.
facility. 5 videos from CF McCarthy's.
Yes.
Yes.
4 dash cam videos.
Yes.
Correct.
2 videos from Canton Town Library.
Yes, sure.
Correct.
2 videos from Cassie's Corner Store, right?
Yes.
2 videos from the cars test
sirens.
on Miss Reed's vehicle. Is that right?
Yes.
And 2 videos from the location at 34 Fairview where individuals were using leaf blowers.
Yes, sure.
Correct.
All of those, I did some rough math, 360 odd videos were handed over to the defense in or about June of 2022. Is that your understanding?
Objection.
That's sustained.
They were provided in discovery to the defense ultimately, right?
Okay. Yes.
Does it sound like, I don't expect you to have the date down pat, but spring of 2022, sound about right? Spring,
Oh,
early
no,
summer?
I'm drunk.
Yes.
All right. But there was additional video surveillance footage that you chose to hold back from that discovery, correct?
Tell us more.
Objection.
Did you hold back videos?
I did not, Your Honor.
Okay, next question.
There's surveillance video from Canton Police Department's Sallyport garage that wasn't turned over.
Oh,
Right.
shit.
That video was discovered later on and then handed over.
The first time you revealed the existence of that footage was in that separate proceeding in February of 2024. Isn't that right?
Oh, shit.
Yes.
You were questioned about it and you knew you were under oath at the time, correct?
Correct.
And that's when you disclosed, yes, there is Sallyport footage and I've seen it.
The video I was referencing was the exterior Sallyport camera where you can't make out
Or
anything.
Well,
JW.
let's talk about that for a second. The exterior, you said, exterior, outside,
Correct.
meaning the one at the driveway.
Right.
And you say you can't make anything out now.
There's 2 different ones. There's a main driveway camera and then there's this exterior Sallyport camera.
Objection.
You
You
were
sound
asked about
stupid.
this set of videos at that other hearing, right?
Yes. So
And you indicated at the time that there was one grainy video, looks sort of mainly black and grainy,
yes.
and another one that showed you and Sergeant Buchanan arriving at Canton PD behind Miss Reed's vehicle on the tow truck. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
You were asked very specifically, are you aware whether there are any cameras in the garage in the Sallyport where Karen Reed's SUV was parked? And your answer was yes, right? In the garage.
Just answer yes or no. Were you or not?
Yeah, I don't recall.
Oh, Jesus.
Do you recall being asked that question?
No.
I can.
This dude is Oliver Northing. I don't recall. I don't recall, counsel. I don't recall. Let me search up to the back of my head. Don't recall.
Repeat it if you wish.
Yeah, please.
Question. Are you aware of whether there are any cameras in the garage or Sallyport where Karen Reed's SUV was parked? Answer, yes.
Okay.
And then you answered, have you reviewed the video footage of that garage? Answer, I saw one very grainy video and then another of Sergeant Buchanan and I arriving in the main entrance around 5:30 following the vehicle, period. You remember that answer?
Yes.
That clearly was an answer to the question, did you see video of the interior of the garage? Right?
Objection.
Sustained. Ask it differently.
Were you answering a question about video inside the garage?
No, I was answering the question about what video I observed, and it was exterior video that I observed.
Although the answer to the question was cameras in the garage or Sallyport. That's the question.
If I was aware of any.
And your answer was yes. And then the next question is, have you reviewed the footage? And your answer was, I saw one very grainy video. And then another, Sergeant Buchanan and I arriving in the main entrance around 5:30 following the vehicle, right? That was your testimony.
Yeah, those 2 videos I'm referring to in the exterior of the building.
Question, when did you watch the video from the Sallyport? Answer, I haven't reviewed it, sir, in quite some time. So I can't recall what's on there. End quote. You remember that?
Yes.
So obviously at the time, in February of 2024, you had that video surveillance. You had that footage for so long
Oh, shit.
that you couldn't remember exactly what was on it because it had been, quote, quite some time, right?
The exterior Sallyport camera.
Except you weren't asked about the exterior. You were asked, question, when did you watch the video from the Sallyport, right? That was the question.
Well, that was the video we had, so that was how I referenced it. There was this exterior Sallyport video.
Why didn't you say to the person that was questioning you under oath, I don't know anything about video inside the Sallyport. I'm referring to outside the building. Why didn't you say that?
Yeah.
Clarify it.
Yeah, I should have clarified it, sir.
Because you'll agree, it sounds a hell of a lot like, an awful lot like, you're talking about what's inside the Sallyport, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
The next question you were asked, why did you review the video
Objection. He can't remember. His butt is itchy. He shit himself. Sustained. Okay.
of the Sallyport? Answer, we review every video we pull, and we pull a lot of video. End quote. Do you remember that?
Objection. He's going to need more water. He can't keep up with his lies. So there's a lot for this guy.
I do.
Overruled. Answer.
Not one word in that testimony. Not one word says exterior. Does it?
Objection. He doesn't know the difference between interior and exterior. Sustained.
No, it does not.
You testified that you'd obtained and reviewed the Sallyport garage video so long ago that you literally couldn't even remember what was on it, right?
Correct.
Ay, ay, ay.
You did know, however, that if you had video at the Sallyport, it would clearly show that Miss Reed's vehicle arrived at 5:30, 5:31. Right? You knew that, correct?
Yes, from the driveway camera.
But you withheld that video out of 360 odd videos that you turned over. You
Interesting.
withheld that one and never mentioned it until February of 2024,
Dang.
correct?
Objection.
Is that true?
I'm not aware of that, withholding that.
He doesn't know. He doesn't remember.
On April 4th, 2024, 2024, it's getting late. On
April
April 4th, 2024,
Sir,
You turned over
objection.
one-
He's making Alan Jackson dumb. Sustained. Yeah, we're going to need him to calm it down a little bit. Okay. Quit. You're ruining Alan Jackson, Michael Proctor. You're so stupid. You're ruining Alan Jackson.
video from the interior of the Sallyport garage, correct?
Yes, sir.
The interior, not the exterior, right?
Correct.
And that, remarkably enough, was a grainy video, right?
Yes.
And that video is missing the precise time that that vehicle was delivered to the Sallyport,
And
correct?
it's inverted.
Was it? I'll allow it.
So was his wiener. Okay.
I don't recall.
It's missing 42 minutes at the beginning, and it jumps from 5:08 p.m. to 5:50 p.m., correct?
Objection.
Sustain.
Have you reviewed the video?
Yes.
Did you see that the timestamp jumps from 5:08 to 5:50?
Objection.
Sustained.
Your Honor, how's-
I'll see you at sidebar if you want.
Okay.
Oh, jeez. It's like, it would just make so much sense if you could just tell him why. As a lawyer, you're like, what was wrong with that? Come talk to me in private. I just said it was. Okay. Don't leave him alone. He's kind of a dummy. Objection. He should be able to testify. Overruled. Overruled.
Ma'am,
Yes.
thank you. You reviewed the video, the grainy video, correct?
Yes.
And that's from a camera perspective that would show, or that does show, the right rear area of the SUV after it's pulled in, correct?
Yes.
Did you note that the time jumps from 5:08 to about 5:50 at the
Damn.
beginning of the video?
Yeah, I observed a jump in video.
And that was about 42 minutes, correct?
Approximately, yes.
I'm telling on you.
You're aware that there's another video from the interior of that Sallyport as well, correct?
Yes.
And you're also aware that by the way, did you secure that video, the second one? Let me ask you a predicate question because it's a little confusing. The second video from the interior of the Sallyport is inverted, correct?
Yes.
Why?
You're now aware of that.
I am.
And why?
Did you recover that video?
I did not.
Who did?
I believe Detective Lieutenant Tully received that from the Canton Police Chief.
Right
Rafferty?
at the
I
bar.
believe so.
Who asked for it?
I'm not sure, sir. That
Did
was,
you make the request?
I did not.
How did you?
Like, we were at the bar, we're at the waterfall, we're having some drinks. I was just telling everyone at the bar about the case. And then one guy yelled out, "Oh, you're trying to cover it up? Should probably invert the video." And then I was like, "Oh, that's a good idea." But then I forgot because I was blackout drunk. But Tully remembered, so he inverted the stuff. Yeah.
Did you become aware that a request had been made?
I was made aware that
Thank you,
video
Pamela.
had essentially existed from the interior Sallyport area.
By whom?
We don't know.
I was probably informed by Detective Lieutenant Tully.
Tully.
So Lieutenant Tully tells you that a second video exists, correct?
Interior Sallyport cameras, yes.
When did he tell you that?
I don't recall.
Was it weeks ago or years ago?
That was more recent than, maybe months ago, a month ago.
Matter of fact, it was after the trial had already started, mid-April, correct?
Oh my God.
I don't recall. I thought it was before.
I don't know.
If it was before, was it weeks before, days before?
I don't recall.
I'm just trying to pin down, like, are we talking about 6 months ago or are we talking about 6 weeks ago?
It wasn't 6 months ago.
Okay,
was
so
6
a
years
few
ago?
weeks ago, you were told about the second video from Lieutenant Tully, right?
Yes.
Did he tell you he had already seen it?
I'm sure he watched it.
Did he tell you he needed you to go get it?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
Yeah, allow
No.
it.
Okay, so when was the first time you saw it?
I never saw. I mean,
A few weeks ago, a month ago,
What were the circumstances in which you saw that video?
just reviewing the video
Where?
at my desk.
So you pulled it, pardon me, you had access to the video. It
Yes.
was on your system somehow.
It was on thumb drives and a disk.
You put that in your computer and just decided on your own to watch it, correct?
Yes.
And what did you notice?
I noticed that there were no boobs, there were no nudes, and there was no leaky balloon knots, so I turned it off. I put my dick back in my pants and I turned it off. Okay, I thought maybe there'd be some jack. This guy.
One of the SUV being brought into the garage.
On your own to
Watch him try to like.
watch it, correct?
Yes.
And what did you notice?
One of the SUV being brought into the garage.
You're in the video, right? That's
What? Was that English? SUV's been brought to the garage.
One of the SUV being brought into the garage.
You're in the video, right? That's you toward the back of the truck.
Yep, I'm in the video.
I was touching my wiener.
Some Camp PD members there as well. Tow truck guy drops the vehicle off.
He was hot.
He's in the front driver's seat.
He was hot.
Exits. Sergeant Mechanic's there. I believe Chief Berkowitz, the retired police chief.
He was old.
Where was he?
He's kind of like mulling around the area. I feel like he was towards like the back.
This guy, his body is reacting. Ugh. I gotta slow that shit down.
Which the retired police chief.
Where was he?
He's kind of like mulling around the area. I feel like he was towards like the.
Objection. We're gonna need a bathroom break. I'm pretty sure this guy shit himself. Sustained. Go wipe your ass, Mr. Proctor. Okay, and wipe it good. Okay, don't do front to back. Back to front. No, don't do back to front. Just do whatever, but get your ass clean.
Back open garage gate there.
The back
Towards like the rear. Yeah.
Where you were.
He loves the rear.
Yes.
Was he the person? Did you note that there were certain individuals that just seemed to apparate out of nowhere, just appear?
Yes, there was one individual in like the top left corner of the video pushing a broom that kind of just appeared.
We just let people come in, you know, with the evidence right there. We were like, hey, come in, they're having a party, we're drinking. Who wants some Jameson?
And also toward the back of the vehicle, somebody just, while you were at the back of the vehicle, just sort of appeared. And walked
Ryan Alberts is here. Come on in, buddy. You want to take a look at this? Okay. Yeah.
down Sallyport, correct?
Yes.
And was that Chief Berkowitz?
Yeah, that's my. It looks like him. Yes.
Okay. So you and Chief Berkowitz are both toward the rear of the vehicle. He just apparates out of thin air because the video is missing some footage, correct?
It appears that way,
And you're
or it
holding
skips.
that- I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
Or it skips. I don't know. That's
Sir, this isn't a CD. Okay, this isn't the 90s. This isn't a CD. This isn't the 70s. This isn't an album. It shouldn't be skipping. Thank you, artists, for the super chat. I appreciate it.
system. It also.
Okay. And you're holding what appears to be that same black portfolio that we saw in the hospital.
And your
Yes.
wiener.
So
More
anything
water.
else you noticed that was odd about the video? Other than the time skips?
How about the inversion? Nah. Time skips, inverted, not much.
So the timestamp in the bottom was inversed. Was it reversed?
I
Oh.
beg your pardon?
Yeah, the timestamp on the bottom of it was kind of it was backwards.
He did not want to admit that. He was like, okay, what's he getting at? He's probably going to talk about how we inverted the video. There was something at the bottom was inverted. It's like a flip. It's like they said it was a Mia, and I was like, I like a Mia. And then I clicked that. So yeah, something like that. I don't really remember. Okay, we got to slow this shit down.
So the timestamp in the bottom was inversed. Was it reversed?
Oh.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, the timestamp on the bottom of it was kind of backwards.
Why?
Was it blue?
So instead of reading left to right, it was right to left. Okay.
Was it blue?
Okay.
I believe it was yellow.
It was yellow. I think he might need to have some adenoids. His adenoids out, or is that what they call it? He might have a deviated septum. He's falling asleep.
Yeah, just moving on.
Yes. I'm just gonna speed it up a little bit.
So the video you saw had a timestamp that was inverted, correct?
Yes.
How about the video itself?
That lady's leaving. She's pissed.
No, from the video I saw, the way the vehicle was brought in relation to the garage and the doors into the PD, it wasn't reversed or inverted.
it was or was not?
Was not.
So as you saw the video, the portion of the vehicle that purported to be the passenger side was in fact the passenger side, and the side of the vehicle that purported to be the driver's side was in fact the driver's side.
Yes. So I reviewed video yesterday just to rewatch it, and the one that I watched had the correct angle. It wasn't reversed. The car was brought in. Tow truck driver gets out from the driver's side. It wasn't reversed. The only thing reversed on it was like the timestamp on the bottom.
Huh?
Well, were you watching video that was produced in this trial?
Yes.
So were you aware that the defense presented a piece of evidence?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
She's gonna allow it.
Were you aware that the defense presented a piece of evidence where we inverted the video back to the correct
Oh damn!
No, it's not.
Oh, now you know, bitch.
timestamp was inverted?
I was not aware of that.
When did you watch that that video?
Just the other day, I was reviewing it.
With your pants off?
Mr. Jackson, we'll take our lunch and break.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Oh,
All right, Mr. Jackson.
why? It's getting good, Bev. It's getting good. No one should be hungry right now. Okay, he's like, oh, you guys can do that. I wasn't sure you could do that. How you could flip it back to the, because a guy at the bar said if you invert it, it's done forever. But okay, you did it back. Okay, that's fine.
Whenever you're ready.
I'm not
Thank you, Your
scared.
Honor. Triple Proctor, before we were discussing Sallyport video that you watched several weeks ago. I want to make sure I'm clear about this. You indicated that the video that you watched was proper in terms of orientation, but the timestamp on the bottom had been inverted, correct?
Gosh.
Yes, that's the way it appeared.
And you recall that being a yellow chyron underneath.
To the best of
In other words, the font color.
my memory, yes.
Which of the Canton Police Department videos were you responsible for retrieving, if any?
No, I don't remember.
I did not retrieve any of them.
Of course.
So what I'm trying to ask is, and maybe I'm doing anything artfully, how did those Sallyport videos end up in the possession of the Commonwealth? What was the line of succession?
Detective Lieutenant Tully retrieved the Sallyport videos, I believe.
And do you know from whom he retrieved those Sallyport videos?
I believe it was
Did you?
the chief of police.
Okay, Chief Rafferty specifically gave him whatever videos were provided.
Correct. That's my understanding.
And then he provided those to you for your review.
Yes.
I want to stay on the subject of videos for a second, but shift gears to the Ring video footage. You've already testified that there
Refilled with
were
water.
several hundred Ring videos from One Meadows, from both the facing the,
I'm gonna need more water. I got a lot more lies to tell.
Correct. That's my understanding.
and then he provided those to you for your review.
Yes.
I want to stay on the subject of videos for a second, but shift gears to the Ring video footage. You've already testified that there were several hundred Ring videos from One Meadows, from both the facing the driveway and the front door camera, correct?
Yes.
As the case officer, you obtained and controlled those Ring videos from One Meadows from the moment that they came into Massachusetts State Police custody until they were handed over to the Commonwealth, correct?
Yes, they were archived.
Irene.
You drafted the search warrant for the Ring video access records, correct?
I did.
You obtained the warrant returns once those search warrants were executed, correct?
I did.
You took possession of Mr. O'Keefe's cell phone physically, correct?
Yes.
And you had access to Mr. O'Keefe's Ring account in that cell phone, is that right?
Correct.
You indicated that you reviewed several of the videos on his Ring app on his cell phone, is that right?
Yes.
So you obviously had not only possession of his cell phone, you had possession of his login account information to get into the app on his cell phone, is that right?
I don't believe we had the password. We had his email account associated with the Ring.
Which means
app.
some
So
way
you-
or another, you could get access to the Ring videos
Correct.
and watch those Ring videos on his app on the phone,
Yes.
which means you had full access to the app. You could keep videos, you could save for later, you could delete videos, you could do anything you wanted to within that app, correct?
Yes, those are the capabilities within that app.
Trooper Proctor, did you delete any of the Ring videos ever from John O'Keefe's phone?
Absolutely not.
Did you delete a video of Mr. Reed arriving to One Meadows at approximately 12:41 a.m. on January 29th, 2022?
Absolutely not.
You will agree, Trooper Proctor, that the video of Miss Reed returning home from 34 Fairview at approximately 12:41 a.m. is not there.
Correct.
As the case officer, you're aware that Trooper DeChico also reviewed some or all of those videos, correct?
Yes.
And he did that at your request.
Correct.
He took notes of his review of those videos, correct?
Yes.
And then he provided those notes to you so that you could then memorialize those notes and your notes in a broader report that you then drafted in November of 2022, correct?
From memory serves me, the report I wrote regarding the Ring camera was based off my observations of the videos that I had watched.
But you certainly did have, as you just indicated, you did accumulate his notes and review his notes as well as your own notes, correct?
Best of my recollection, I wrote that report off of my notes.
Did you actually, at any point before writing your report, did you note or did you review his notes?
I can't recall.
You asked him, he reviewed the videos at your directions, correct? At
Yes.
your direction, correct?
Yes.
And obviously he would have wanted to provide you whatever insights he had into his review of those videos. Otherwise, what's the point, right?
Correct.
So when you reviewed his notes, did you see that they were on some sticky pads? You remember that?
That sounds about right.
Do you recall exactly, as you sit here, exactly what was on one or more of those sticky pads that you reviewed from Trooper DeChico?
I don't know.
Would it refresh your recollection if you would take a look at a copy of those notes?
Yes.
Ma'am, you are?
Yes.
I approach. Sure, you can approach. Give me a little smooch.
Ma'am.
Yes, thank you.
If you would mind taking a look at the top or the uppermost top note,
Looks like
highlighted
he's
with a sticky note
struggling
next
to
to it.
read that.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Approach.
Yes.
Okay.
Trooper Proctor, do you have these notes in mind, specifically the uppermost note?
The 0041?
Correct.
0041.
Yes.
You reviewed this previously before you wrote your report, correct?
Yes.
And you note that at 0041, which is a time relative to what DeChico was looking at on the ring video, he indicated taillights from driveway, parentheses, I think she arrived home, in parentheses, correct?
Correct.
0041 is what? What's that in reference to?
Just after midnight, the approximate time where Miss Reed will be returning
Prime drinking
from Fairview
time.
Road.
It's military time for 12:41 a.m., correct?
Yes.
Drunk time.
You wrote a report on November, I'm sorry, I earlier said November, it's actually June 1, 2022, memorializing the times that were of note to you in that ring footage, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you recall every single entry that you made concerning the events that were of note to you that were reflected in your report?
The majority of them. We don't, every single one.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at your copy of your report to determine what all you did and did not note?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm drunk.
May I approach?
Sure. Do you have it with you, Trooper? Do you have your report with you?
No, I don't. I'm not prepared, Your Honor.
May I approach?
I have
Yes.
vodka. I got Jameson.
Trooper, do you have those events in mind?
I do.
Your report is dated June 1st, 2022, correct?
Correct.
And reflected in this report are the bullet points of the times that you found of some note in your review of all of the ring footage from One Meadows, correct?
Yes.
In your report, there's no mention of the footage showing Karen Reed arriving home at 12:41 a.m., correct?
Correct.
And that's notwithstanding the fact that in Trooper DeChico's report, in his handwritten notes, he makes note of an event at 12:41 a.m. indicating, I think she arrived home, correct?
Correct.
So sometime between when Trooper DeChico wrote his notes and when you wrote your report, that video footage vanished, correct?
There's also no date on Trooper DeChico's notes. We have many dates from ring video, so I don't know if he's referencing a different date.
Well, you're aware that the video footage from 12:41 a.m. is gone, correct?
Yes, it's something I've tried to find through ring for months, as well as the video when Miss Roberts, Miss McCabe, Miss Reed arrived back at John's and they're looking at the broken taillight. That video is gone as well.
So at some point, while this footage was in Massachusetts State Police custody and being reviewed by Trooper DeChico, that video existed, didn't it?
Objection.
The objection is sustained.
Ugh,
Mr. Jackson, don't waive that again, okay?
what?
Yes, sir.
That'd be nice.
The fact is, notwithstanding Trooper DeChico's handwritten notes,
It's handwritten note.
there's no video of 12:41 on January 29th, is there?
No, there isn't.
Trooper Proctor, would you agree that from the very beginning of your investigation, you treated Karen Reed very differently than you treated the Alberts and the McCabe's in this case?
Objection.
I'll allow it. Was she treated differently?
Objection. That question makes too much sense and is probably going to lead us down a path of truth, honor, and the American way.
Absolutely not. We've, like I said before, we followed the facts and the evidence, an open mind.
Did you consider her to be, for want of a better phrase, an outsider,
No, not at all.
not somebody from Canton?
But she wasn't the ring bearer at your wedding. You don't know her. Your sister Courtney's not friends with her. She's kind of an outsider.
No, not at all.
She's not from
Not
there.
family, not friends with the Alberts.
Absolutely not.
At some point, your view of this case caused you to turn what could be described as a bias into an out-and-out hatred. Would you agree with that?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you develop some sort of
You developed some sort of feelings towards Miss Reed?
hatred for Miss Reed
Yeah, he did. He hated her. And he hates Alan Jackson.
at
Objection.
any point in your investigation?
I'll allow it.
Again, we follow the facts and evidence which showed
But you said in your text message she's a whack job.
Miss Reed hit Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle. And yes, at times I got emotional because of that. And I said some stuff, texted something.
No. You don't get to use emotional, sir. Were you emotional when you were looking for the nudes or talking about her leaky balloon knot?
Things I shouldn't have, but it was based off the evidence.
As a matter of fact, you did express your feelings about Miss Reed in yet another text message that we haven't gone over today. Is that right? On February 4th, 2022?
I love when they have him read it, and I'm worried that in this next retrial they're going to have like a reader. I think that was one of the things that they were talking about in kind of the I think it was this past week of who's going to read certain text messages. But I think the witnesses still read their text messages. It's text of people that are being read that aren't the witnesses, right, guys? Because I love listening to these guys have to read their idiotic, gross text messages because they should have to read that shit.
Might as well turn to tab 10.
Tab 10?
Tab 10?
Okay. It's either the bait stamp or the
This is triple F as in Foxtrot. And the base stamp is 2526.
Yes, sir.
You see an entry from Courtney Proctor, a text starting, I didn't give my.
Yes.
Request permission to publish on.
yes.
On that date, February 4th, 2022, your sister texted in relation to some sort of donation that she had given. I didn't give my name as I didn't want anyone to link me to Michael, meaning you.
Courtney, you got to get a life. Does Courtney not have a job? Why does she always text about this case? Is she an investigator on it? Jesus.
22, your sister texted in relation to some sort of donation that she had given. I didn't give my name as I didn't want anyone to link me to Michael, meaning you, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach?
Okay, take that down.
Lally, let us read the damn text messages.
You see the text from Courtney Proctor. I did not give my name as I didn't want anyone to link me.
So that's stricken. That's what was objected to. Just this one,
No. Bevy, let us see it.
or the whole page goes in.
You responded to a text message from your sister, correct? And your response was, hopefully she kills herself, correct?
Yes.
Who's she?
But you don't hate her, and you're not biased, and you didn't have it in for her. And that didn't leave you to be, so close-minded.
The defendant.
Miss Reed?
Correct.
So emotional. He shouldn't have this job if he's so emotional. They always say women are emotional, but these men, in this case, holy shit.
You literally said that you hope that Karen Reed, the subject of your investigation, the woman sitting to my left, about 7 feet from me, that she would just die, correct?
The figure of speech.
You wanted her, the figure of
Figure of speech. Sir, if you say you hope someone dies, it's because you hope they die. You don't like them. You hate them.
speech is you wanted her to kill herself,
No.
right?
No, it's not.
Trooper Proctor, Karen Reed, in your investigation, had quickly become a very serious problem for you, hadn't she?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you believe that Karen Reed was a problem or an issue for your investigation?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Allow it.
No,
Bevy.
absolutely not.
In your words, quote, all the powers that be want answers ASAP. That's what you texted on January 29th, right?
Yes.
That put a lot of pressure on you, didn't it, Trooper Proctor?
There's a lot of pressure in every case, sir.
This case involves a
cop.
Boston cop whose family you were actually connected to, correct?
Loosely.
Chris Albert, loosely.
Yes.
Julie Albert, loosely.
Yes.
Colin Albert, loosely.
Yes.
Kevin Albert, loosely.
Yes.
Too many Albert.
Loose enough to leave his badge and his gun in your cruiser after a night of drinking, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
Ay, ay, ay.
You agreed in your group chat that you needed to, quote, make this cut and dry because another cop was involved. Those are your words, right?
Objection.
Where is this?
This was
We read it, Bev. Are we not paying attention? And why are you objecting, Lolly? He freaking said that. And it's in evidence. And he read it.
referred to in earlier text messages, group chats.
So is that right? Did you say that, sir?
Of course he said it. He already read it.
I did text that.
It was a sarcasm, but flip of the tongue, tongue of the cheek. I shit myself.
I don't know if it's in the exact context. But yes, those were my words.
Group chat.
Yes, that was in the group chat.
In what context were you saying, I hope she kills herself? What was the context in that? Do we need to know the context when someone says that? Oh my God, this guy, he's infuriating.
Your friends wrote this whole thing in their words stinks, correct?
Just like it's a yes.
Yes, I interpret that as a joke.
You believed Trooper
Listen, I am a comedian. People pay me to tell jokes and be funny in person at shows. You are not. Okay? So you do not. Just because you say it's a joke doesn't mean it is a joke. And let me tell you, I know that jokes are subjective, but that is not a joke.
Proctor that your life would be much easier if Karen Read was just dead, didn't you?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
No. Like I said, it was a figure of speech. My emotions
About the person you're investigating for murder?
got the best of me based
Why are you so emotional? You at your period? You want some Midol? What's going on?
on, the fact that Miss Reed hit Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle and left him to die on the side of the road. So
You don't know that. There were other avenues you could investigate and you chose not to.
my emotions got the best of me
Why are you so emotional? You shouldn't have this job if you're that emotional. Seriously.
with that figure of
Save that shit for your diary.
speech.
Well, let's talk about your figures of speech. During the course of your investigation, your figures of speech include the following. She's a bitch.
Ah,
Objection.
you're a
Is that right?
bitch.
Yes.
A whack job, correct?
Yes.
A retard, right?
Ah,
Yes.
Her balloon knot leaks, right?
Yes.
No ass, correct?
Yes.
She's fucked, according to you, right?
Yes.
Ass leaker. That was the word you used, a figure of speech, right?
ass
A girl who
leaker.
shits herself,
Didn't the balloon not say enough? Oh my God. Why did it take so long to fire this guy?
right?
Correct.
Fucked, according to you, right?
Yes.
Ass leaker. That was the word you used, a figure of speech, right?
Correct.
A girl who shits herself, right?
Correct.
You're literally shitting yourself on TV right now.
And then fuck her, correct?
Correct.
You wish.
Would you agree, Trooper Proctor, that you have
How is his wife? I know you guys pointed me in the direction. I did see an interview with his wife. Like, that's your husband? Ew. Blech.
dehumanized Karen Read during the course of your investigation with comments and words like this?
Objection.
I'll give you this one, Mr. Jackson.
He is
Would you agree
unfuckable.
with that?
I would say based off that language, yes.
And you admitted, in your own words, that the cop homeowner wasn't going to, quote, catch any shit, right?
Correct.
Because you were out to quote, make this cut and dry. Isn't that right?
Because you drink with his brother, Kevin Albert. Jesus.
The homeowner wasn't going to catch any shit because Mr. Elliott had nothing to do with Mr. O'Keefe's death.
How do you
Because you
know?
were going to make sure that the case was cut and dry. Those were your words, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
And Trooper
Overruled. Overruled. Go ahead, Alan. Keep asking him. Keep grilling him. Keep digging in him. He's a big dummy liar.
Proctor, it would be far easier for you to pin it on the girl who's just a whack job cunt, in your words, who you hope just kills herself, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
Shame on you, sir.
Yeah, that's my favorite part. Shame on you, sir. And she's like, Alan, strike that, strike that. But that doesn't matter because the jury heard it. Shame on you. You dirty, masturbatory. Talking to your sister too much. Look at Alan's face. He's like, shame on you, you dirty rat bastard. You tell Courtney and Bortney and all the sisters you talk to on the regular. Shame on you.
Just kills herself, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
Shame on you, sir.
All right, so jurors, disregard that.
No, not disregarding it, Bev. Okay. Disregard that, Jules.
Told you before, lawyers can't make comments. They can
Yeah, they con.
ask questions. And Mr. Jackson, you know better than that.
No, who cares? Well, maybe he's emotional. Okay. If Proctor can get emotional while he's supposed to be unbiased in an investigation for murder against a woman, surely Alan Jackson can get emotional at the injustice that's occurring right now. Look at Karen. She's like, that's my man. That my man just said that. We got to hear it again, you guys, because I just love when he does that. And he takes his book. He's like, shame on you. Shame on you, you mouth breathing pants shitter. Shame on you. Shame on you. I hope you never know the love of a woman again. Shame on you. You don't belong in any vaginas for the rest of your life. That is all. Thank you.
For you to pin it on the girl
The girl.
who's just a whack job cunt, in your words, who you hope just kills herself,
Ah,
right?
Objection.
Sustained.
Shame on you, sir.
Objection.
All right, so jurors, disregard that. I've told you before, lawyers can't make
yeah, they can. They can't. They can. They can, and they did. They can, and they did, Bev. Do you see Karen's brother was like, mm-hmm. Catch me outside. Watch your brother behind Alan.
Shame on you, sir.
He's like,
Objection.
All right, so jurors, disregard that. I've told you before, lawyers can't make comments.
can't.
They can ask questions. And Mr. Jackson,
the question is, are you ashamed of yourself? I'm ashamed of you. Objection, Bev. Okay, and overruled. He can. You say he can't. I say he can.
know better than that.
That's all I have.
Mr. Lally?
Thank you.
Oh, here comes boring.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Poor Lolly. He's real boring.
Now, when you had started with cross-examination
Oh,
the
I
other
already fell asleep.
day, you were asking questions about whether or not in August of 2022,
I know prosecutors don't have to be as animated and fun, but like, Lolly is just like, oh, okay. I'm gonna have to speed him up. I'm gonna do 1.5 on this. Too.
you disliked or did not like Mr. Yannetti, correct?
That's correct.
Why was that?
How could you not like Yannetti? He's like low key, kind of attractive.
Well, basically, he stood up in open court and spouted lie after lie about me, called me corrupt and conflicted, dragged my name through the mud after I spent 10 plus years without a.
Well, it sounds like Yannetti was right because you're out here just talking about people's leaky balloon knots, people you're supposed to be investigating, calling them see you next Tuesday, saying you hope they kill themselves. But so now you're mad someone talked shit on you in court.
Single complaint filed against me, and he had no
Good for you, Yannetti, getting a complaint. You should have got a complaint a lot sooner, and then you're going to be fired anyways. Oh my goodness.
basis or no facts with these wild act.
Talk about facts. Sir, can we hold up a mirror? Objection. Can we get a mirror for Pooper Proctor over here? Because what he's saying right now that he's upset about are the exact things that he does in this case. Thank you. Sustained. Sustained.
accusations because there are none. This investigation was done with the utmost integrity.
I'm sorry. Integrity. Yannetti's like, you're an idiot. Sir, look up the definition.
Not just by me, but my supervisors and other troopers in my office,
Yeah, they all seem to not have the most integrity.
as well as Mr. Yannetti shows up at my sister's school yesterday in the parking lot where he's not welcomed or where people are not supposed to be with one of their witnesses and their private investigator. And a teacher sees this, it informs Mr. Yannetti that he can't be there. And instead of saying, okay, and leaving, he asks, is Corey Proctor
Leave his sister alone. He talks to her 4 to 5 times a day, maybe 6.
in the building? Does she work here? She called me to see if she was being served.
Objection.
Oh, dang. He wants to fight Yannetti. He wants to fight him. She's dropping my sister's school. Why is your sister still in school? No, I know she's a teacher, but why is she still in school?
Can we approach?
Yes.
Oh, he's pissed. Now Proctor's going to buck up. St. Brian Higgins. He's pissed.
Jurors, I am striking that last answer. It was probably a partial answer cut off. I'm striking it completely, disregarded. If you took notes, cross the notes out. You're not to consider it in any way. It is completely stricken from the record.
Is it the part where Proctor says Yannetti was at his sister's school?
And Trooper, I'd suggest you
Proctor's like, and I'm jealous because I can't be within 1,000 yards of a school. So, yeah, I thought it was kind of bullshit that he can go and I can't even see my own sister.
listen to the question being asked of you before you answer it.
My apologies, Your Honor.
Keep your voice up, Mr. Lally.
This man, how did this man even keep a job that's so serious in which you have to be like calm and have temperament when he is so emotional and ridiculous?
Try that again. As far as you were asked about text messages that occurred in August of 2022 in which you indicated that you did not like Mr. Yannetti, correct?
Correct.
And so at the time of that text message that was sent in August of 2022, why was that?
In August of 2022. Why was that?
Yes.
The reasons I laid out, the false accusations of being conflicted and corrupt spouted in an open court, which there's zero evidence of. Like I said, I stand by the integrity of this investigation, as well as every trooper and supervisor in my office.
Were there also motions filed by Mr. Yannetti or by counsel containing photographs of yourself and some children?
Yes.
And what, if anything, were the allegations in regard to the children that were depicted in those photographs?
So the photograph was taken in my parents' backyard.
Objections overruled.
My parents' backyard at a pool party. There's some little kids in the photo. Defense counsel kept insinuating that those were the McCabe's children, when in fact they were my family, my cousins.
Have you at any
Who just happened to be McCabe's, and then a couple of Alberts over there. But yeah.
point in time ever met any children of the McCabe's?
No, sir.
In the course of this investigation, as it was sort of alleged on cross-examination, did you essentially pick a suspect and then try to have the evidence fit that?
Objection. Form? Meeting.
In that form, it's strictly not allowed to ask if that way, Mr. Chairman.
How did you conduct this investigation, you and the other troopers in your office?
With beer
From the start of this investigation, with an open mind,
and whiskey.
like I said earlier, we didn't know what we had,
We hate
possible
women.
medical. So as the day went on and we collected more evidence and developed compelling evidence against Mr.
Feelings for each other. Then we did a circle jerk, but we were drunk on Jameson, so nobody remembers, so it doesn't count. It's not gay, and we're all married and straight, allegedly.
Reed.
Now, with reference to this investigation, it continued after January 29th, 2022, when you had those text communications with your friends, correct?
Yes.
Was there additional information that you compiled over the course of that investigation following January 29th, 2022?
I'm sorry. Say that again, please.
He doesn't understand English, sir. You know that. Wally.
Following that date of those text messages on January 29th, 2022,
Yes.
was there additional information that was gathered over the course of
Open mind,
your
open
investigation by
bottle.
yourself or other troopers involved in the
That's our
investigation?
motto. You can't.
And from that additional information that was gathered, what, if any, information
What if any?
that was gathered throughout
What
the
if
course of the
any?
investigation indicated that anyone besides Ms. Reed had anything to do with Mr. O'Keefe's death?
Objection. I can't follow. All I can remember is what if any. No more what if any's. Sustained. Sustained. Mr. Lally, no more what if any's. You've abused the what if any's. All right.
All the information gathered after that date indicated no one else was responsible for Mr. O'Keefe's death.
And sir, you were asked some questions on cross-examination about testimony in a prior proceeding and shown specifically at page
Oh, God.
01563, correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Please approach.
So, sir, I'm giving you 01562, 63, and 64, and ask you to read those.
Too many numbers. He can't follow that. Objection. Too much math.
Now, Trooper, after reviewing those 3 pages, is there now more context to what you were just asked about on one specific page of that testimony?
Yes.
And those were questions related to what you had told, what you had informed other people within the office or your supervisors in relation to relationships with both the McCabe's and the Alberts, correct?
Correct.
How many McCabe's and Alberts have you had sex with? Objection. Overruled. How many? I don't remember. Does it count if you were blackout drunk?
Of course, that testimony, did you relay to that
Open
body
bottle,
the
open
same
mind.
testimony you just relayed to this jury in regard to photographs of children and defense counsel attributing those to being the McCabe's children, which they were not?
Yes.
Now, you were asked some questions by Mr. Jackson in regard to what you knew or why your focus was not
Can we just let Jackson ask all the questions?
on Brian Albert.
My ADHD, I can't even follow Lolly. Like, it's so difficult. He doesn't, there's no dopamine. There's no, it's just, it's so.
Later on in the evening of January 29th, 2022, correct?
Correct.
And why was that? Why was your focus not on Brian Albert at that time?
Because he's my friend Kevin's brother. I mean, because I was drunk. Because he's a friend of the, because his nephew was in my wedding. I don't recall.
There was just no evidence that Mr. L was involved anyway. Like I said before, from witness interviews, the statements Ms. Reed provided to witnesses, the one shoe left at the scene, the taillight pieces found underneath the snow that were dug out by the CERT team, the injuries to Mr. O'Keefe, the one shoe at the hospital that was observed, her statements to us, Sergeant Mechanic and I, while we interviewed her.
She had no nudes, so I was like, she's probably guilty. If she had nudes, I might have considered somebody else at the house.
Clearly the broken taillight and the fact that leaving Brockton, instead of going to Dighton, she backtracked to go to Canton to retrieve her vehicle and then go double back to go to Dighton, which I found odd.
I find you odd.
If at any point in time over the course of your investigation you had evidence which led you to believe that Mr. Abbott was involved in the death of Mr. O'Keefe, what would you have done?
Objection. Ask it differently.
I would have grabbed another person to set him up. I would never let him go down because he's like a brother in arms. No, I would have called Kevin. No, that's not the right answer. I would have called Brian Higgins because he's big and he scares me. No, I don't recall.
With regard to, again, you testified
What if any?
beyond.
Go with the what if. Objection. He's going to need to use a what if any. Otherwise, he doesn't know how to question. Okay. Sustained. Use the what if any.
January 20th. At any point in your investigation, did you find any information or evidence leading you to believe that Brian Albert was involved in the death of John O'Keefe?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
No.
If you had found information leading to that conclusion or evidence leading to that, what would
You would have to look for that.
you have done?
Objection.
Then allow it.
Not only myself, but members of my office would have pursued that.
At the bar with Kevin. Let him know, hey, can you tell Brian to come up with an alibi? Let's start hiding some evidence. Start setting some people up.
Regardless of his position,
Can't let a good drinking buddy go down.
correct?
Regardless of what he does for a profession.
Regardless. So if you worked at Kohl's, would you still set up KarenRead? I would. It doesn't matter. Okay. She's a whack job.
You know what I mean, bro?
Balloon time. Oh, so much approaching. Lolly, quit flirting. Lolly's trying to use his sexuality.
You, document shows you wrote the other day. You recognize that?
I put it in big, large font and wrote it in crayon so you can read it.
That is text communications between me and
Kevin, Brian, Colin.
high school buddies.
And sir, if I could direct your attention within there to page 2535.
2535.
Yes, sir.
You were asking questions about text on that page, but also there's a text on that page that begins with, they arrived at house together, correct?
Correct.
And what is the date and time associated with that text message that you sent?
That was sent on January 29th, 2022 at 11 p.m.
And what is the content, or what did you send to that group? That text message?
The message reads, they arrived at the house together, got into an argument. She was driving and left.
And then I looked through a phone, jacked off to a couple things. I think it was a picture of a mom. No nudes yet. Leaky balloon, not by. She's a CNN.
So that's also information that you had late in the evening of January 29th, 2022, correct?
Objection.
Inform that, sustained.
With respect to that
What if
information
any-
conveyed in that text message, when did you learn it?
During the course of the day on the 29th.
May I approach her?
Yes.
Just retreat.
Oh my God, Lolly, quit flirting with Bev. She's married. I don't know if she's married. You're not at the bar.
Now, you were asking questions about people that you spoke to on the 29th, correct?
Yes.
And that
Quit messing with the mic.
included Brian Albert, Jennifer McCabe, Matthew McCabe, Kerry Roberts, is that correct?
Trooper DeChico and Trooper Dunn interviewed Miss
Donnie Doo-Doo? Trooper Donnie Doo-Doo?
Roberts.
And my apologies. When I was saying you, I meant collectively.
Yes.
But you specifically, yourself and Sergeant Mechanic, you also spoke with the defendant on January 29th, correct?
Correct.
And that would have been prior to any of the text communications that were contained within that chat with your.
Okay, it's too boring. Too boring. Don't want. We heard the goods. We heard the goods with this guy. That testimony is like one of the craziest I've ever seen, ever watched, ever, all the things. And so now it's going to be very interesting in the retrial to see former trooper Pooper Proctor, to see his, to see him on the witness stand now with the jury, I believe, having the knowledge that he was let go due to, how he behaved on this investigation. So that, I mean, to me as a juror, if I was listening to someone who was the lead investigator, but then was released and fired because of what a shitty job he did, I'd be like, oh, I don't know if this chick got a fair investigation over here. So I don't know. And what he's going to remember, we don't know, but he's going to have to study up. Oh my goodness, Brian, but don't forget Brian. You guys are all wonderful, beautiful pumpkin spice babies. I appreciate you being here for me as we gear up for the retrial of KarenRead and covering it, reacting to it, roasting it, all the things we do. Shout out to all my super chatters today and new members. Lauren, thank you for becoming a new member. Chickenhead, thank you for the super chat. LXU, thank you. Silly Goose, thank you. Artist, thank you for being a member for 15 months. Rosemary, thank you very much. Pamela and Artists for the super chat. You guys, let me just gift a couple, like I said I was going to before we get out of here. I am going to give out some memberships to my channel. You guys, woo, almost 3 hours. I mean, I feel dumber having watched and his testimony for that long. Okay. Smash that like if you haven't already. We're at 165 likes. I just liked my own video. Okay. So hopefully you have it selected where you can receive gifted memberships. I'm going to gift a couple here to you guys. If you do get a membership, remember to go check out the members tab here on YouTube so you can see some exclusive content, some bonus content, and then also use the emojis. Okay, let me just do this here and we will get some memberships. Oops. Come on, I know how to do this. I just did this. Okay, membership gifting. All right, I am going to gift out 5 memberships. YouTube will choose who gets them randomly. I think they choose, and let's see who won. And thanks again, you guys, for joining me this afternoon. Hopefully you had a good Sunday, a good Easter, a good 420, whatever you're celebrating. Let's see. Kelly Cal, congrats. You got one. CJ Cooper, Jen, no, Witness, you already had one, right? Alyssa, and actually Ash. So congratulations to those of you who won some memberships. You guys, I'll be back tomorrow with another No Offense, All Offense, and we'll be talking about pop culture stuff and Karen Read gearing up for the retrial. Let me know. Here's a little what I want you guys to comment after the video posts. What part of the first, which cross-examination from the first Karen Read trial do you want me to roast up tomorrow? So put it not in the live chat here, but put it in the comment section after the video posts. And then maybe one of your suggestions I'll choose, but tomorrow we'll go over another cross-examination as we gear up for this retrial. All right, you guys, again, let me know in the comments. Hit that like. Follow me on social media at joleenlunzer everywhere. And until next time, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Bye.
If you like what you see.